New Breed, Global Truth. What's up, everybody? It's your brother New Breed coming through with another live stream. Peace and blessings to the chat. Jubay's in the building. Jared, what's going on? KC Moto, Elton Knowledge, Coach C, salute. Wonderful and beautifully made. Hayes is in the house. James Stewart, purpose over everything. Dennis York, what's happening? Nisi, pretty smile, what's up? Emery Bolden. Glad to have y'all present. Pound the like button on your way in. Pound the like button on your way in. Gather round, come get this knowledge, come get this edification, and come get this truth. All right, Anthony's in the building. Everybody do me a solid. Smash the like button on your way in. It sends the notification out. And we got some pivotal information about what's to come and what's taking place in America right now. We're going to specifically hone in on the trade war between China and America. The Trump era is beginning to become very interesting. These tariffs are pushing a recession, and the American citizens are here. We're seeing it. We're present. We know what's going on. Now we got to talk about how to maneuver, as well as how this all fits into biblical prophecy and history as well. Because in order to know the past, in order to know the future, rather, that you have to study the past. Now, you know, over here, we like to study from the word. Today, I'm going to be going into the Apocrypha. All right. Some of you all may not be familiar with this book right here, but it's authorized by King James. It was actually in the original King James Bible, the 1611, but the Roman Catholic Church, peep this, deemed it non-canonical. Now, I'm going to tell y'all like this. It was in the original book, but they deemed this non-canonical. And we know the Roman Catholic Church that's the harlot. We already know that that's the tabernacles of Edom. We already know that that's that's product of the Roman Empire, the Roman Catholic Church. So, you know, they didn't want this in here for several reasons. It was so much information that it has. They couldn't get away with a lot of the things that they've done and plan to do if this book was in all the Bibles, right? But, you know, here, I have one in some of the verses I'm going to be going into. We're going to be touching on what's going on with America and what's to come. And we're predominantly going to hone in on the book of Esdras, and we're going to go to the book of Baruch, right? But this is going to be real insightful. It's going to be real insightful. All right, so I want to talk about starting off with this China trade war. Now, there's some experts that's speaking on it. I want you to hear this gentleman here, and we got more sources, but I want you to hear this gentleman here and what he has to say. Let's go.
To a recession. How could these tariffs cause a recession? Everyone's talking about recessionary fears.
How does the tariff lead to a recession?
Yeah.
Okay, but first of all, I mean, I don't want to go into the market stuff. Look at the market. But when you have the basic premise of all these tariffs, it's going to cause demand destruction, it's going to cause higher prices, and it's going to cause lower profitability for companies. All of those things lead to a slowdown in our GDP growth, right? Your consumer sentiment is down. Things become more expensive. Consumers are not that eager to purchase anymore, and we're a consumer economy. So that's number one. You got less spending in the economy. Less spending, you know, because things are more expensive, you know, causes, you know, less spending equals to companies making less money. Companies making less money, they have to retrench, they have to restructure their operations, they have to cut costs. all that, the basic premise is these tariffs are not going to stimulate growth, stimulate employment, stimulate spending. They're doing the direct opposite, right? Things become way more expensive. Companies make way, because you pass on the tariffs to the consumers, they're going to pay more, right? Their purchasing power goes down, right? Their discretionary spending goes down, right? And then when that happens, those companies on the other side of the fence who are selling those products, they're going to sell less products, or even for those that are still selling products with tariffs, they're going to make less money. If they don't pass 100% of the cost to the consumers that are buying their products, they're going to margin compression. All roads lead to lower profitability.
Now, this is also going to lead to the retail apocalypse, where you're going to have fewer goods, fewer options, and fewer storefronts. It's going to completely take out mom and pop stores, and mostly everything will be purchased online. All right. And it's going to limit your options. And that goes for all major retail stores. All right. That is what's coming next. Now, when this comes, it's going to seem convenient, but I want you to keep in mind that this also creates less human interaction as well, and more division, more separation. Now, every time they are coming in the auspice of convenience, that's problematic in itself. But let's get into this.
Right? Lower profitability in companies means what? You have to adjust your cost base, means job losses, right? And it's like that domino effect. It starts with,
I mean, that's the real red media right there. That's stock market crash. And I don't know how this isn't stock market manipulation, because anytime he says something that changes, how do we know that the elite don't have inside trading going on? And they could just be lining their pockets right now by manipulating the public. I mean, that's a question that I have, but let's continue.
No, I'm talking about, like, auto dealers are like pinging everybody, come buy your car now, come buy your car now, come buy your car. So he said that, and everybody's reacting to it verbatim.
Do we know when they're—
And really, you should chill on that. Right now is not a time to be making major purchases. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. If you can avoid making major purchases right now, unless it's something tangible, something that you can have and it's yours. I'm not talking about something that you got to lease. I'm talking about unless you purchasing something that you can have, whether it be some livable structure, something that is just tangible. I wouldn't do it right now. Let's go.
they're actually going to go into an effect? Has he said?
I have no clue. I have no clue. He said immediately. What does that mean? Immediately. How are they going to collect? There's a whole, who knows? So, this is the epitome of uncertainty. You don't know, but all the way what he's saying right now points to a recessionary situation.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. You got to understand that tariffs are not good. Blanket tariffs, not good. You're going to create demand destruction. You're going to create lower profitability, aka all things that lead to a recession.
Yep, that's absolute truth right there. And I want to go to the book of Esdras, written in the Apocrypha, and we're going to go to first Esdras. Actually, it's second Esdras, chapter 6, verse 22, and it reads, "And suddenly shall their sown places appear unsown. The fullness of storehouses shall suddenly be found empty." Now, that's a vivid description right there. It's saying suddenly, everything that was full, grocery stores, storefronts, all of it is all of a sudden going to appear empty. And that's what you're going to see. And I want to let y'all know right now, President Trump was purposely put in office as a Manchurian candidate to crash the economy. All right. These people have been planning these things for centuries. They're ahead of the curve, and anyone who's placed in the White House is only a talking head, a puppet, a figure. They gave us 4 years of a bumbling maniac with Joe Biden only to set the stage for what we have today, for us to believe in something greater. They gave us something so bad Now everybody's putting their hope in something else. And let's get into it. The Apocrypha talks about this. Matter of fact, I want to go to another verse before we go to our next source here. 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. Now, that's a sweeping pronouncement of judgment, ladies and gentlemen. Plagues, famine, and, you know, a lot of people don't want to take these things serious, but the irony of all of that is it's happening already. We're already seeing these things take place. And it should be apparent that it's not going to get any better, right? The Most High says if he was going to save Babylon, he would have done it already. And when you go to the book of Revelations, chapter 18, verse 11, it says, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. That's America. That's Babylon. Nobody is going to be buying anything from America anymore, which shows you they're going to lose the trade war. This is biblical prophecy that America will lose this trade war. All right. And it's not going to be good. Now, I want to go to another source here. Peep this, because China is on one right now.
China is fully prepared to fight to the very end because the world is big enough that the United States is not the totality of the market in the world. So if the United States wants to go in that direction of completely shutting itself out of the China market, be my guest.
Yeah, and China will lose the US market, which, as I've said, is 15%.
We don't care. We don't care. China has been here for 5,000 years. Most of the time, there was no United States, and we survived. Wow. And if the United States wants to bully China, we will deal with the situation without the United States. And we expect to survive for another 5,000 years.
When you hear Donald Trump say China wants a deal, it just doesn't know how to go about it. They're proud people. J.D. Vance talks about Chinese peasants. What do you make of their conduct in this respect?
If J.D. Vance thinks that he's dealing with the peasants in China, and I'm proud to be a descendant of the peasants, most of us are descendants of the peasants anyway, that's our tradition. We are farmers before. But now we are one of the leading industrialized economies in the world. So I'm sorry, J.D. Vance doesn't know what he's talking about. And therefore, I don't think there will be China-US dialogue unless the United States changes its attitude towards China. Deal with China as it is. Show respect to China. Show respect to the Chinese people. And don't try to impose your prejudice and biased view about China or about the rest of the world.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 19.
Yo, that's a bombshell right there. Let me tell you something. The Bible already told us that America will have the shortest reign out of all of the major kingdoms of the earth. Mystery Babylon will only have a short amount of time. America has not been around that long, brothers and sisters. When you think about all of the powerful kingdoms, ancient Assyria, ancient Egypt, ancient Babylon, ancient Greece, when you think about all these places, America, look, listen, that just popped up. It's getting a short amount of time. America has turned, you know, it turned from the home of the free to a conglomerate, to a corporation. And everybody's going to eat off that corporation. They're going to fatten themselves up, and then they're going to return to their homeland. They're going to do it. This is the reason why the Bible keeps calling Babylon a harlot. Because what do people do to a harlot? They use the harlot and disregard the harlot. So that's what's happening. And dude made it clear. That representative, I believe he's an economic specialist in China. He made it very clear that their people are farmers and they're going to sustain. They were here 5,000 years. They were here before America, and they're going to be here after. Y'all got to understand, this place is short term. America was never actually built to last. What do you think the whole Federal Reserve is about? This place was not built to be here for the long haul. It never was. Now, there's more news here because China is pulling out no stops, and some of the things they're doing, I'm like, wow, that's interesting. So I don't know if y'all knew this, but 280 hours of free shopping in China. You don't need no green card. You don't need no visas. They have opened their borders for people to come over there and shop. They have undercut the market, and they are outsourcing America for all high-end fashion and so forth. Let's go.
Girl, China said, fuck them tariffs. They are offering 13% cash back on any purchases from American citizens. And not only that, they're going to give you 280 hours of visa-free entry into China to go shopping. No paperwork, nothing to do, no visa needed. You can just go to China and buy whatever it is you want. They said if America wants to try to keep American citizens from buying foreign goods, good luck. Because not only can you come here and buy the same shirt that you would buy in America for $40 and buy it there for $21, they also took away all prosecutions from fake brands. So they used to prosecute retailers who were making knockoff brands. They said, not anymore, honey. You can come buy all you want. They're not prosecuting any of their citizens for
Yo, China is not playing. They said, look, America, we not your little homies. We're not your little homies no more. Like, you got this twisted. Look, this is how you survive. I don't think America counted for any of this unless they did, because, you know, on the world stage, a lot of the times, ladies and gentlemen, some things are planned. You know, it's hard to tell the authenticity, and we must question everything at times. But one thing is for sure is America is definitely going to, they're definitely going to get the short end of the stick, so to speak, of this trade war, right? Now, in other news, the world is talking about this. And, you know, this is New Breed Global Truth. This ain't New Breed Local Truth. So we go to the world news, right? And I'm going to show you what people around the world are saying, because they're watching this whole fight. And some of you all are just glued to Fox News thinking that America is winning this thing, right? But on the contrary. Now, hold on. Is this the right one? I might be on the wrong news source. Let me see. One moment. And do me a favor, if you gain an edification, hit the like button on the video. Okay, yeah, that is the wrong one. All right. Now, this news source right here is coming from, I believe this is African news, perhaps Nigeria. And it's called, it says, the title is time on China's side in Trump's trade war. Now, they're asking, is China going to win this trade war? Watch.
China enters a trade war with the United States. Beijing has implemented crushing trade tariffs in response to U.S. charges on its exports. Now, with Xi refusing to back down, trade tensions look set to escalate.
April 2nd, Few would describe US President Donald Trump as lacking in confidence. And as he unveiled his global trade tariffs, he was adamant they would usher in a new age of American prosperity.
They will give us growth. These tariffs are going to give us growth like you haven't seen before. And it'll be something very...
Now, this is what I want to say. And in the long run, will America be prosperous? Well, for a short amount of time, and not for who you think it's going to be for. Only those who would submit themselves to the beast system. Only those who are willing to live in 15-minute smart urban mobility cities. Only people who are willing to be subjugated to all kind of evasive technology. Only people who are willing to give up their souls That's who it will be beneficial for. Because what's happening right now is they're stomping down on the middle class and the poor, and the rich are getting richer. And some people will be able to serve in their utopia that they're setting up. Because that's what's happening. The rich are setting up a utopia for themselves, and they're going to need servants. And that's what we're living in. And they're going to have total control over those people. Right? Let's go.
Very special to watch.
But after China retaliated with levies of its own, Washington went even further. The US has repeatedly hiked trade tariffs on China since the beginning of February, to the current level of 145%. China's hit back each time and now has 125% levies on US goods. Beijing has called the tariff hikes a mistake on a mistake. It says it's ready for negotiations with the US, but stresses it would never back down from a bully.
If the US harbors ulterior motives and insists on waging a tariff war, trade war, or any other kind of war, China will play along to the end.
China said they're not finna back down. They said, we don't know what y'all heard about us. We don't know what y'all think this is, but we're not finna back down to no bullies, and we're gonna fight this thing to the end. And based on all the evidence that we see, they're gonna win the trade war, and it's gonna be bad for America. Wake up the people. Thank you for the support, man. I appreciate it. Says keep working. It says keep waking up the people. Peace and blessings. Thank you, brother. I appreciate the support. And America ain't gonna back down either, because guess what? Pride come before the fall. That's what the Bible tell you. Pride come before the fall. But guess what the Apocrypha tells us? The Apocrypha tells us in 2nd Esdras 16 and 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish is sent as scourges for amendment. That's what happens when the Lord has to amend things, when he has to rectify what's going on. He's going to have to send plague, famine, and death. A third of man going to have to drop. Why? Because pride come before the fall. And these leaders are not willing to do what's right for those who deserve it. So the Most High has to judge this place. And the children of the light shall escape their captivity great in substance. That's what the Bible says. We will leave this place great in substance. Let's go.
But China's leaders may think it...
And we're going to live to talk about it to the rest of the world. Let's go.
But China's leaders may think it won't come to that. They possibly believe that political and economic unrest in the US will topple Trump before that happens. Severely higher prices for American consumers, or potentially a spike in unemployment, could cause the White House to lose public support.
Yep, the White House is going to lose public support. There's going to be more distrust culminated from public officials and the citizens. There'll be, I mean, we're talking about hyperinflation. You know, just yesterday, there was already more massive protests that sparked worldwide for Donald Trump once again. But, you know, this is what they do. They create order out of chaos. They want mischief going on in the streets. They want distrust. That's part of the plan, right? Yep, somebody said the Pale Rider is collapsing. Let's go.
China is also trying to bring the US to the negotiating table.
Let's see. Xavier Moore, thank you for the support. It says, much love for being a voice for the voiceless. We appreciate you, fam. Thank you, man. I appreciate the support.
Via other means. It's suspended deliveries of a range of critical minerals, a move that could choke the supply of components critical to US manufacturing. Beijing's ruling Communist Party has also shown it's not adverse to propping up China's stock market with state investment. And there are other means with...
See, China's the plug. They got a real reserve. China, you know what I'm saying? China has money to the side for a rainy day. America's in debt. That's the difference. We trillions of dollars in debt, and they got a large savings. Telling you, man.
Which China can fight international diplomacy. China's leader, Xi Jinping, is looking for business partners around the world, hoping to capitalize on the damage the tariffs have done to America's global reputation.
Wow. So now while America is trying to play big dog, they out here bullying and trying to flex. China out here swindling, jugging, and finessing. Not even swindling. Let's take that word out. They're hustling. And they're making connections and networking with everybody else who got a problem with America. Yo, if these scriptures ain't jumping off the pages right now, and ladies and gentlemen, I see y'all in the chat, feel free to share scriptures at your will, at your leisure. Feel free at any time as the Spirit compels you to share scriptures regarding this. I love when y'all share scriptures. If I don't see it, just throw a little super chat in there so it can stand out. But keep the Spirit moving, keep the truth going. Iron sharpens iron. Let's go.
His message: China stands for stability, international trade, the rule of law, and is very much open for business.
Mm-hmm.
Let's now speak to Alex Capri.
Man, the way China talking, man, this will definitely destabilize America, man. Let's go back into this book right here. If y'all don't know it, you better ask somebody. You don't know about this Apocrypha? You know, all the people who believe that all I'm teaching is doom, gloom, and fear, and they clearly ain't read the Bible. This was part of the Bible. They clearly ain't read this word right here, where it talks about what's happening, right? Now, let's come with it. Let's come with it. Now, we're going to the book. We're going to the book of Tibet, 4:13. And it reads, "Now, therefore, my son, love thy brethren and despise not in thy heart thy brethren, the sons and daughters of thy people." It says, "It's not taking a wife of them, for pride is the cause of many fallings and great trouble, and in lewdness and decay and great want." See, that's talking about sin. Because of lewdness and decay, because of great want, they shall fall. They shall collapse. People are going to need and want, and it's going to be one of those type of environments. And these, yes, for the record, these are the verses removed from the Bible. The verses removed is what we tapping into right now. Now, let's go.
He is a senior lecturer at the business school at the National University of Singapore. Welcome to DW. You get the sense that China is banking on the US eventually backing down. How do you see this playing out?
Well, I think China has been calculating the long game, and they've looked at a number of things. The first is what was mentioned in your lead-in, and that is that they are now positioning themselves as a reliable, stable, predictable trading partner, contrary to the chaos that we've seen coming out of Washington with the...
Did y'all hear this? China is setting themselves up to be a reliable, stable connection when it comes to world trade. Now, this completely just takes the value of the dollar out. I would talk about BRICS all the time, and now we see exactly what's happening right now. This puts things into a whole nother perspective. You got to look at how the world is looking at this. I want to go to the Wisdom of Solomon, and this is also in the Apocrypha. And I want to go to chapter 11, verse 15. It says, "But for the foolish devices of their wickedness, wherewith being deceived, they worship serpents void of reason, and vile beasts. Thou didst send a multitude of reasonable beasts upon them for vengeance." Now, this doesn't directly address famine, but it's also talking about divine punishment. And it also implies the loss of resources once again. And this is just all through the Apocrypha. But let's go.
With the Trump 2.0 tariffs. I think they've taken that message to the whole global South and the whole world. And that's the message we'll be hearing repeatedly as they, again, look to diversify, look to get other countries to trade with China, to recognize China's investments. They've been touting the Belt and Road Initiative and using that as a sweetener to say, look, we'll build infrastructure, both hard and soft infrastructure, along with our investments in our trade. We'll open up trading avenues for you. So I think there are a lot of things that they're really sort of leaning on and banking on.
Alex, you've suggested that China may be being overconfident, but just give us a sense of what price China is paying for it.
How many of y'all think China being overconfident and America is going to hit them with the big payback? Let me know in the chat what y'all think. Let's see. Sister 1973, she posted a scripture in the chat. It says, and this is Luke 21:28, and it reads, now when these things begin to happen, look up and lift up your heads because your redemption draws near. That's right. That's right. See, a lot of people don't understand when we talk on these matters, we're rejoicing because we know that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. We understand that we got next. We understand the people who toiled in the vineyard, the people who were at the bottom. We know that the last shall finish first and the first shall finish last. So we rejoice knowing that prophecy is coming true. People who love the truth, people who gravitate towards this real biblical insight understand that the truth shall set us free. And we're not going to walk around oblivious with our heads in the sand, not wanting to hear what's going on in the world. It is better that we are informed. I use this example all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were terminally ill, would you want to know about it, or would you want to live in ignorance and live your life a certain way, or would you want to know so you can prepare for what's to come? Right? Personally, I would want to know. So I'm not one of those people who are going to be ignorant to what's going on in the world either, right? Anyway, let's continue.
It's retaliation.
Well, look, when we look at the so-called trade war, and it certainly is morphing into a full-blown trade war, we have to view this in the broader context of the geopolitical rivalry, right? So that means that in addition to tariffs, there are non-tariff measures, such as export controls and sanctions that have hurt China, frankly, particularly around semiconductors and AI chips and that sort of thing. So China, if it's playing the long game, which it is, has rolled out restrictions, export controls on critical minerals, as we just saw.
So y'all got to understand, banning critical minerals from going to America is going to be very costly. I mean, that's going to affect our infrastructures. That's going to affect our technologies. That's going to affect our vehicles, everything, our homes, everything. Now, second Esdras 15:27. It reads, for now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them. For God shall not deliver you because ye have sinned against them. That's right. That's right. This is for the sinners. That's right. If you choose to, be rebellious to the Creator, then you know what? You will fit the mold, because those who are rebellious are not going to move accordingly. They're not going to follow the Holy Spirit. Ethnic, thank you for the contribution. I appreciate the support. Says, do you think it's a coincidence? Speed, the Twitch streamer, is at China glazing their economy. No, it's not a coincidence. That is a good perspective. Yeah, Speed, he's over there getting millions and millions and millions of views right now because the world's a stage. They're actually showing you that China is going to be the next superpower. And they're listen, I show Speed, that's who he's talking about. They're over there idolizing that young man just to show young Black people that they're welcome to China, because they understand that, guess what? We are the number one consumers. And ISO speed being over there is stimulating their economy expeditiously. Because now young black boys are going to want to go to China. Young black girls are going to want to go to China. So that's what's happening right now. That's a fact. He's a walking billboard, a walking advertisement. Let's go.
But it's also has to be very careful not to put middle tier countries like Malaysia, like Vietnam, and others in a position where they feel like they have to choose between China and the United States, right? That's not what any ASEAN country wants. They want...
Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor and hit the like button. And as of late, breaking news, China just hit America with 150% tariff raise, more retaliatory behavior, and they're still going in, right?
Diversification, right? They want more markets. They want to mitigate the risk of U.S. tariffs by having more deals, more trading relationships. And I think many of those countries are still in a very vulnerable position when it comes to negotiating with the United States.
Staying on that thread, as you say, the world's two biggest economies are essentially locked in a trade war. What does this mean for the rest of the world?
Well, I think we have to be really, really careful when we look at global supply chains, right? And we have to absolutely distinguish between the very strategic supply chains around the power multiplier technologies, as I call them, right? So AI, semiconductors, data centers, biotech, quantum, et cetera. Those supply chains, regardless of the new deals that are being struck, are going to continue to bifurcate because they have national security relevance. They have obviously very important defense implications and economic security, even social stability issues. So all countries are going to be looking for a certain degree of self-sufficiency, if you will.
That's true. You're going to have a lot of countries, looking from the outside looking in. And I hope Africa is one of them that start looking at the fact that they have their own resources. They have minerals. Look at what they have instead of trying to outsource, instead of trying to change your country to a democracy and keep chasing the American dollar. Because once they see the American dollar collapse, two things are going to happen. They're going to figure out what they have as far as resources go, what they can do on the world stage, as well as they're going to be looking for another leader. And that's where China comes in. They're going to be looking for other leadership to stabilize the world economy, right? Let's go.
Or certainly coalitions of the willing to coalesce around these very strategic supply chains. So in that regard, whether it's China or the United States, middle tier countries are looking for more agency, right? They're looking for, again, to mitigate the risk and avoid that kind of zero-sum binary choice situation for their trading partners.
And just very quickly, Alex, just on the geopolitical implications of all of this, China is using this moment to rally the global South. Is this working?
Yeah.
Well, I think that there are many appealing issues to the global South that have been there even before the trade war started. One is de-dollarization, right? Because the U.S. has been able...
Hear that? They've already came together about de-dollarization, getting rid of the American dollar as the main, the main financial the main currency in the world, right? They've been coming together about that because the dollar is a death note. The dollar is built upon blood, and the dollar, it causes people to crash out. The dollar causes people to go to war. The dollar is cursed. You understand? I know we need money to do what we need to do. We need the dollar to survive and sustain. It's a resource, but the dollar is cursed. This is why we deal with love notes on New Breed, globaltruth.com. Get you some love notes, because once we have a trading system, our network of merchants will have a way for you to get discounts on those items. You know what I'm saying? Because we believe in having love notes. We have our own currency. Anybody can make their own currency, and we've done it. So we understand that the dollar, I've been believing in de-dollarization, even though it's needed for now. But truth is, the dollar, one moment. One moment. My bad. Truth is, the dollar is it's causing nothing but war and confusion and chaos. Even in third world countries that have natural minerals and natural resources, they're fighting over the dollar. I went to Liberia a couple years back, and it was a great place with great people, you know, but same thing. The dollar was problematic because it was more inflation in some regards there than it is in America. That's because they're not focusing on their own export and import. And so, yeah, let's get into it. See, now when you've been in these places and you've been amongst dignitaries and world leaders and you had these conversations, everything they're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, I've been in these conversations and I understand it totally what's going on. But anyway, let's continue.
Able to so effectively weaponize the US dollar. And of course, again, none of those global...
He said they successfully weaponized the US dollar. America's hated, and it's going to be hated. It's Babylon. It's going to fall. And eventually the entire world is going to turn its fury and anger towards America.
And of course, again, none of those global South countries, as I've mentioned, want to be in a South countries, as I the US dollar.
Hold on.
And
what do you say?
South that have been there even before the trade war started. One is de-dollarization, right? Because the US has been able to so effectively weaponize the US dollar. And of course, again, none of those global South countries, as I've mentioned, want to be in a position where...
Hey, that's what the scriptures say. Handsome Hustler says capitalism causes sin. I want you to think about that. The scriptures say, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which some coveted after. They have pierced themselves through with many sorrows. That's what's happening to America right now, capitalism. And because of their capitalism, they finna have capital punishment. That's right. Let's go.
It's a binary choice, right? So I think China is opening up more trading opportunities for them. But at the same time, whether it's the global South, whether it's the European Union or any country in between, I think China just does not have all the playing cards, right? Nobody has all the playing cards now.
All right, that is Alex Capri, senior lecturer at the...
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get the likes way up. Let's get it over 1,000 people in the room. It's up to you, the viewers, to support my broadcast because, this stream right here is breaking down everything you need to know about the trade war right now. So show your support. Let's go.
The business school at the National University of Singapore. We appreciate your insights, Alex. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm joined now in the studio by DW's reporter, Craig Crowther. Craig, tell us first of all how confident China is feeling that it could actually come out on top in this trade war.
I do think China has a sense of optimism, even if it's not overly confident. If we look at what's happened in the United States, even in the 2.5, 3 weeks since Trump's so-called Liberation Day, we've already seen that Donald Trump has had to capitulate twice, first on the imposition of these global tariffs, bringing them down to 10%, although not for China, and also on for electronic goods, on things like mobile phones and laptops. So I think that gives the Chinese some reassurance that if they stand their ground, that they can indeed push through and see this trade war through to the end. And also...
See, that was a sign of weakness when Trump said, you know what, we're going to raise tariffs on China for everything but laptops, cell phones, technology. That showed China right there. Oh, they scared. They saying, oh, they scared. They already know what time it is. That was a sign of weakness right there, because if you're going to do it, do it. But they know that the economy would have crashed instantly. Let's go.
Given this idea of, we know that China isn't a democratic system, and what that means is that while Americans will be going to the polls in the midterms in 18 months' time, where the American electorate can give an answer to the administration about how they think Donald Trump is doing in the White House, we know that Xi Jinping and other Chinese Communist Party officials aren't facing an election, and that gives them a sense of security that they can.
Exactly. Everybody don't want to be a democracy. You know, we could talk about Xi Jinping all we want, being a dictator and all that, but America's going in the same direction. And one thing about it, they respect authority and leadership there. We in America, look, we have reasons not to trust our leadership. But look, let me tell you what them scriptures say, because this is pivotal, and we're going back to the Apocrypha, and we're going to go to the book of Judith. And the book of Judith, let's see. Here we go. It says in Judith 7:11, now therefore let us cry unto heaven, if peradventure the Lord will have mercy upon us and remember his covenant. For there is none to help us but the Most High, and he hath shut us up within their hands, to be thrown down before them with thirst and great destruction. So this is talking about, it's speaking about the siege, the pain, the destruction of the people who won't turn to the Most High. That's what has to happen. You have to turn to the Most High, right? And that's what it's all about. But let's go.
And whether whatever political turbulence and dislike comes their way. So in a sense, the Chinese system has more elasticity to absorb the dislike from the population, which simply doesn't exist in America.
Yet there will be some damage done from these tariffs, right? What is China doing to try to protect its economy as best it can?
I think the first thing to note is that China has been thinking about the possibility of tariffs since Trump's last presidency 8 years ago. While it doesn't want to be in the situation, it has been somewhat preparing for it. Also, we know, as we spoke about just a second ago, China isn't a democratic system. And what that does is it gives Beijing several levers which it can pull. It could devalue its currency, making exports cheaper and then more attractive to other countries around the world. It could also do more public spending, which would give people in China more yuan in their pocket. And I think the most important thing we saw in the report about Xi Jinping's trip to Asia, what that does is project China as a stable option for investment for the economy, when on the other side of the Atlantic, we have somebody who's mercurial and quite erratic, and then it makes China look like a good place for people to do business.
Yeah, and it does. And you know, China has made itself very attractive on the world stage when it comes to import, export, business in general. And I mean, you're seeing this in real time, China becoming the next world superpower, and the American dollar's falling right before our eyes. Sister 1973, she posts a scripture, and that is Luke 16:10. And it says, that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. And he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much. That's right. As long as you faithful, long suffering, you doing what you're supposed to do, you'll be all right in these times. But those who are lovers of iniquity, people who just want to fulfill flesh, people who don't want to hear truth, people who want to shun righteousness, they're going to have to suffer in this life. They're going to take great loss, because they're not following the Creator. They're going to, I mean, you're going to see people who was way up here on a pedestal. And we've been seeing a microcosm of that, you know, within the last year. Somebody like Diddy that owned multiple mansions and homes all over the world, now relegated to a cell. What does that show you? That shows you that you can be way up here. You can be prideful, arrogant. You can think that you can't be touched. And then you get casted down. I'm telling you. And it's going to be people out here who was rich, people who going to have to be, who going to lose everything, be in the streets begging for bread, having to learn the game from those who lived in the streets. Imagine millionaires and billionaires all of a sudden living in tent cities, trying to figure out how to survive and sustain. That's what's going to happen. People who made trades and investments, people who lose everything because they put everything into the system. I'm telling you, America's full of pride, and pride come before destruction. Now, I want y'all to see what China talking about, because they prepared for it. And I'm going to also get into more of what's about to happen in America.
China is fully prepared to fight to the very end, because the world is big enough that the United States is not the totality of the market in the world. So if the United States wants to go in that direction of completely shutting itself out of the China market, be my guest.
Yeah, and China will lose the US market, which, as I've said, is 15%.
We don't
You
care.
can't.
We don't care. China has been here for 5,000 years. Most of the time, there was no United States, and we survived. And if the United States wants to bully China, we will deal with the situation without the United States. And we expect to survive for another 5,000 years.
When you hear Donald Trump say China wants a deal, it just doesn't know how to go about it. They're proud people. J.D. Vance talks about Chinese peasants. What do you make of their conduct in this respect?
If J.D. Vance thinks that he's dealing with the peasants in China, and I'm proud to be a descendant of the peasants, most of us are descendants of the peasants anyway, that's our tradition. We are farmers before, but now we are one of the leading industrialized economies in the world. So I'm sorry, J.D. Vance doesn't know what he's talking about. And therefore, I don't think there will be China-US dialogue unless the United States changes its attitude towards China. Deal with China as it is, show respect to China, show respect to the Chinese people, and don't try to impose your prejudice and biased view about China or about the rest of the world.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair.
Yo, look, he said, look, J.D. Vance don't know what the hell he's talking about. China not backing down. China's not struggling, nothing going on with our economy. If America want to continue to play this game, we're going to show you that we're going to stick around and we're ready to take whatever losses because we're ready for it. We're ready for it. But meanwhile, this is what's going on in America, civil unrest. Shout out to my brother, King Connect, for the support. I appreciate you, my brother. And it says, it's never been more important to seek the Most High and to renew the mind through repentance. That's right. The Most High won't forsake those who operate in obedience and faith. Got to keep fighting the good fight. That is the wholehearted truth right there. Brothers and sisters, you got to stay sober and vigilant out here. You got to keep reverencing the Creator. You got to be steadfast and keep going on that uphill battle, no matter what the devil's haters, naysayers, none of these people, no matter what they say, don't let them separate you from your faith. Because look, in this day and age, there's going to be more pressure applied on everybody to choose a side. And you got to choose right. Let's go. Read that scripture, Jeremiah 30:6. As ye know, and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned to paleness. That means it's going to come a time where people, grown men, are going to be afraid of what's to come. They're going to be holding their loins like a woman giving birth, screaming, afraid. Telling you, that's what time we coming into. Let's go. Jeremiah 30:7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It's even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So it's going to come a day that nobody's ever seen. It's going to look like every post-apocalyptic film you ever seen out here in these streets. But guess what? The Most High is going to rescue Jacob. Those who take hold of Jacob, those who are going to adhere to the word, those who are going to follow the Most High and the Holy Spirit. Let's go.
Hello, everybody. It's me again. One more thing. There is about to be a big outbreak of civil unrest. I encourage you, those that are of color, get ready because there is about to be an outbreak.
I advise everyone, not just those of color, I advise everyone to get ready. Brace yourselves. The civil unrest is going to be here and it's going to be real. Shout out to brother Jared. Thank you for the support. My brother says, gave you a shout out on my last upload. Thank you for the inspiration and the information. You're one of the reasons I moved to the country. That's what's up, man. All praises. I appreciate the support, my brother. Thank you. That's what's up.
Of civil war. It's bad enough that the prices are going up. You know, people can hardly find jobs or places to live that they can afford. But as I was listening to the man of God talk about it this morning, I was listening to him. He was prophesying, but God had already resonated into my spirit prior.
And see, it's very rare that you hear men of God these days talking about what's to come. A lot of the times you go to these churches, you go to, any type of spiritual leader, they're not really informing you what's to come, what's happening politically, geopolitically. They're not telling you what to avoid. They're not telling you how to, navigate in the last days. And you would think that would be the main thing that the pastors and preachers are talking about. You would think that they would be talking about how to navigate in the last days, but instead they just trying to teach you prosperity, or they're giving you motivational talks. And a lot of their motivational talks is none of it is about self-autonomy or any of that, or, taking things into account that you may have done. It's more so just tickling your ears, making you believe that you can do no wrong and you're going to be blessed. No, we want information. If you call yourself a man of God, a woman of God, then tell us what's going on in the world and how do we move accordingly so we can strengthen our relationship with our Creator and navigate righteously without being caught up. Let's go.
Prior to. So I want to encourage anyone to get yourself prepared, because there's about to be an outbreak of civil unrest, and there's going to be no mercy. Let me let you understand this. There's going to be no mercy coming from these people. There's about to be an outbreak of civil unrest, and there's going to be no mercy. Let me let you understand this. There's going to be no mercy coming from these people.
Now look, let's go to the scriptures to validate and verify what she's saying. Let's verify that, because the Bible talks about this societal breakdown. 2nd Esdras 5:9. It says, and salt water shall be found to be sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself and understand and withdraw itself into the secret chambers. So it's going to come a time where so-called friends are going to be cannibalizing each other, destroying each other out of desperation to get some type of position in life, knifing each other. So when it speaks about that, it's not even just talking about the physical knifing of people, even though that's coming too, because the book of Esdras talks about the lack of bread. But it's talking about how people knife each other in the game of capitalism, how people, attempt to destroy others just to get a position, how people try to destiny swap. It be your own friends. It's already happening. That's right. That's like 1 Timothy. That's right, sister 1973. Y'all see why she got a wrench, right? She be coming with it. 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 88. But if anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for his members of his household, he shall be deemed worse than an infidel. That's right. Which that goes into people not preparing, people not working, people not understanding and strategizing the times. You're going to get caught out there like an infidel if you're not taking heed to sound wisdom. But it's also talking about get out, get up, and do something to provide for yours. That's what it's talking about. But let's go.
There's about to be an outbreak of civil unrest, and there's going to be no mercy. Let me let you understand this. There's going to be no mercy coming from these people. So when I tell you, you better get a hold of God's unchanging hand, honey. That time is now. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. We're not scared, but you got to be ready.
Now, let's rewind what she just said. She said, "Don't get it twisted." Hold up. Don't get it twisted.
We're not scared, but you got to be ready.
Don't get it twisted. Hold on. Here, say that again, sister.
Don't get it twisted. We're not scared, but you got to be ready.
Now, one more time for the people in the back. Let's go.
Don't get it twisted. We're not scared, but you got to be ready.
Now, one more time for the people way in the back.
We're not scared, but you got to be ready.
One more time for the creepsters out there who, you know, they always watching us talking about we afraid over here.
We're not scared, but you got to be ready. Be ready. Civil unrest is around the corner. God bless you.
That's what I'm saying. You got to stay ready so you ain't got to ever get ready. Somebody said it takes a different level of stupid to think billionaires help common people. I mean, you what? That's what I'm trying to say. Because you got people who believe in Trump is the Messiah. You got them people thinking that Trump is coming to really save America. Meanwhile, look at what China's over there doing right now. In case y'all ain't caught word, 280 free shopping hours. They're undercutting the whole market. Look at this.
Girls, China said, fuck them tariffs. They are offering 13% cash back on any purchases from American citizens. And not only that, they're going to give you 280 hours of visa-free entry into China to go shopping. No paperwork, nothing to do, no visa needed. You can just go to China and buy whatever it is you want. They said if America wants to try to keep American citizens from buying foreign goods, good luck. Because not only can you come here and buy the same shirt that you would buy in America for $40 and buy it there for $21, they also took away all prosecutions from fake brands. So they used to prosecute retailers who were making knockoff brands. They said, not anymore, honey. You can come buy all you want. They're not prosecuting any of their citizens for.
Man, I'm telling you, they are undercutting the whole market. And somebody shared a scripture in the chat, and it goes right along with the young lady was saying about civil unrest. And that was 2nd Esdras 5:19, when she said there will be no mercy coming from these people. She's talking about those purge people. She's talking about the anarchists. She's talking about those people in the Jason masks. She's talking about those people who are running around with clown suits on, dressed like it. Because this is what it's going to come to. They telling you in the movies, but 2nd Esdras 15:19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. That's the word right there. That's what's, listen, now y'all see why they took this out. They took this out so they can sit up there and jug, finesse, manipulate, and play games with your mind. And so you can have this false sense of security and hope for a system that is rapidly declining. Let's see, Hydro. Hydro says, we already living in a third world country. Damn. Here in the US, I have no hope to save money. That is not an option for me. Well, I've always advised people to save money, because just like China is doing right now, they got a real reserve, not a bunch of debt. Money acts as a defense. So it's not wrong with getting to it, stacking up. But you also got to keep in mind that if you are able to stack up some money, there has to come a time you have to liquidate your assets or your assets. You have to liquidate that and make sure you got tangible things in your life that you can use in case money is not and void. In case there's other day they like, look, the dollar has officially collapsed. To get a loaf of bread, that's a day's wages, because that's what the scriptures tell us. Matter of fact, somebody share that in the chat. Share that scripture where it says a day's wages would be like a loaf of bread. You want to have something tangible. You want to have, that somebody said, guns and butter. Yeah, you want to have gardens. You want to have livable structures. You want to have you some camping supplies. You might want to have you a nice boat or a nice something. Get you a shed, a shack, anything. And that's what UP Farms is for us people who are like-minded, who want to build something on that land and have something in case things get crazy, or it could just be a vacation spot for you, something that you got going on up there, or you can just have a little business there. So when we do events, you can share your skills and share what you got going on. But that's what that's about. Let's see. Revelation 6:6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Yeah, that's not the scripture I was looking for, but thank you for that. That's right. You want to have water, resources, seeds, gun, ammo, tools, batteries, flashlight, candles, tangible things. Tangible things. Get you an RV or a camper. Tangible things. And that is sound wisdom. That is sound advice for the days that we are coming into. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the scriptures speak for themselves. Now, we got more news to cover, but I want everybody to continue to get the likes up on the video if you are gaining insight. Somebody says, nah, bro, Kamala was a better choice. Well, Kamala is not in office, so it doesn't matter. I disagree with you, but it doesn't matter. Let's look at what we have going on right now. Let's see, Angela Rose, she says, China propaganda, most Chinese are not farmers. They're very young, unemployed people. Well, you're going to have to bring some statistics, data, and facts. Enduring in the South says, Shalom, shalom, family. The Most High is so good. One thing for sure is that he brings us through the sufferings to prepare us. He shows us how to survive. I agree. I agree. Let's see. And let me see. Let's go to this source here, because if this tariff war or trade war continues, it's gonna get very interesting. And I like to be fair and show y'all what's going on from American news as well, because we went all around the globe. We went to China. We went to their news sources. We went to Africa news sources. Now we're going to spin back to America just to kind of see what the temperance is here, right? What are they saying on the news here? Let's go.
If you just look in the year 2024, we imported $440 billion worth of goods. And then we exported about $144 billion worth of goods. So there is definitely a huge trade imbalance. We import things like, electrical machinery, automobile parts, just pharmaceuticals, chemicals, plastics, just a wide variety of things. So if the tariffs continue for a long time, I think we're going to see an increase in price at the shelves in our stores. We will definitely feel it, in the next few weeks, in my opinion.
So I read in Reuters, they say that tariffs could cost semiconductor companies, I'm reading this, it could cost U.S. semiconductor makers more than $1 billion.
So now, to be clear, this is an American analyst. He's talking about, the same thing that's being said all over the world. America's saying the same thing. We're gonna get hit with this recession. The recession is going to be imminent. There's no way out of this. It's coming. Brothers and sisters, there's no way out of this. The recession is coming. The inflation is going to continue. The dollar is going to continue to drop. The stock market is going to continue to drop. And these are the things that I've been preaching and prophesying about for the last 2 years. And I tried to warn the people. I tried to warn them. And now it's happening. And a lot of people don't have anything to say. All of the scoffers, all of the hypocritical mockers, all of the people who was talking crazy. Now it's happening and they're quiet. They're silent. You don't hear nothing about any of this, what's going on. I'm telling y'all. And this is why you got to make sure you're not led astray, because it's all happening. It's all happening. let me see. Somebody says Ireland is like the Hitler run. For the last 35 years, our government is evil. Love Biden. China gave us 2 black swans 30 years ago. Then ear fell. Trafficking is going. Weaponry, drugs grew. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess that person is informing us what's going on in Ireland. We do know it's corruption all over the world. That's a fact. Yeah, we got $9 eggs out here. But there's a bird flu epidemic. But KFC chicken is $5.99 for 36 pieces. I don't know. Explain it to me. What are we eating? But anyway, let's go. That's neither here nor there. I always bring that up because I keep thinking about that damn KFC commercial where they turned that boy into a damn chicken nugget. They dipped him in grease and he came out a chicken strip, bro. Diabolical work. But anyway, let's go.
And that's per year. Why might the cost of business be more expensive for those companies despite the tariffs, excluding electronic consumer goods?
Yeah, so if you look at the supply chain of semiconductor fabs, it's huge and it's complex. So just take a company like Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, for example, which is based in Taiwan, a small island nation. They actually get their ingots from which they make wafers. They get that from Japan. Well, to make the ingots, Japan needs chemicals from China. And once these ingots come into the foundry in Taiwan, then they have to go through multiple manufacturing processes. And the equipment for these manufacturing processes are brought from companies like Applied Materials, KLA, and a bunch of other companies. Again, the supply chain just kind of extends all over. Once the chips are made, they are typically sent to an assembly factory like a Foxconn or somebody like that that are located in Taiwan, of course, China, India, Brazil, Mexico. Once they are sent there, they are assembled, packaged, and either shipped directly to consumers from there or sent to the parent company.
So I want to explain this. China is the plug because it seems like everything is pretty much done in China, even with processing of certain foods, right? And even we already know with fashion that they making everything, right? But the only thing these other countries have been doing is just slapping tags on stuff or finishing the process. So China got all these facilities where they are doing the major industrial work. And the other countries are just taking credit. So China's the plug. It's sort of like, let's correlate this on a street level, right? They the number one suppliers, right? All these other gangs and streets, and that's hugging blocks, they got to get it from the supplier. They're the supplier that everybody want because their prices are good. You know what I'm saying? Contrary to popular belief, they just prove by exposing all the major fashions that their quality is good. I'm telling you, bro. So on the street level, guess what they just did? They just outsourced everybody and they just won. See, I gotta give it to you. I gotta condescend on every level, bro. China's winning. China said, look, we not your little homies. They don't even believe in having big homies. I'm telling you, man, I got to find that clip again. Let me see if I can find that joint while I'm playing this.
For shipment. So I think there is just a vast amount of supply chain. And anytime you have these tariffs hit on components, and when they go back and forth between countries, it gets added multiple times. And so the cost could go up much higher. So the Reuters article, I think, quoted companies that make equipment for foundries, for fabs, and they have numerous parts that come from all over the world, and sometimes they have to be brought in, packaged or assembled into a sub-assembly sent somewhere else for further processing, further assembly. And then when it comes back to a third country, again, everybody's being hit with tariffs. And so that.
See, that's what I'm saying. They already process everything. So now you trying to hit the plug with, that's just like, look, drug dealers. Let's bring it this way. We're going to take it on a street level. It's like the supplier has all the good dope, right? And you just a customer. You a buyer. You selling it at whatever price you want, but you're gonna tell the plug that they need to go down on their prices. You're gonna tell the plug, even though you selling it for whatever you want on the streets. They don't even care how much money you making, none of that, because you're doing whatever you doing in your hood. You making whatever you make, you inflating, you giving the hood inflation rate, right? But then you want to go to the supplier and tell them, nah, you in order for us to get that plug, you're gonna have to charge us less. They like, what? Oh, let's go to war. I know I'm talking about, I need everybody to understand, comprehend, even if you're on the street level, man. This is crazy what America's doing. But anyway, let's go to the scriptures. Revelation 6:6. Then I heard what sounded like a voice among the four living creatures saying, 2 pounds a week for a day's wages. That's right. That's a loaf of bread for a day's wages. That's what it's coming to. Somebody said, I'm just saying I'm breaking even, so I don't know how to even go about saving anything tomorrow. I mean, a lot of people are. The Most High is keeping a lot of us afloat. He's keeping us where we need to be. Yeah, they trying to rob the plug. America tripping. Trump better come down off his high horse, bro. He better stop ego tripping because it's not looking good.
Keeps on increasing the cost every step of the way.
So I think people have heard over the past few years, especially since COVID, people have heard supply chain this, supply chain that, chip manufacturing this, chip manufacturing that. And everybody knows that chip manufacturing is important, but maybe not everybody understands exactly why it's so important and what chips are used for. I think we all think of our smartphones having things like this and computers having things like this. But can you put it into your own words? How important is chip manufacturing to the modern global economy at large?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm so glad that they got into just talking about this because I actually have a source on this because I was going to save this, but man, wow. You know what? I may have to save that, bro, because he's talking about the chips right now. And I'm going to tell y'all what's going to come of that right now. I might as well tell y'all what's going to come, but I'm going to save the source later for another broadcast. But there's going to be a cyber apocalypse, man. There's going to be a cyber pandemic. And it's because of the chips. And they're going to have to purge the internet. We're going to get into that later. But some things have happened politically that also back up exactly what I'm talking about. Not too long ago at the World Economic Forum, they were talking about this very same thing that I'm discussing right now. But now there's been some laws from the CVES where they're pretty much destroying cyber security altogether. And it's like they're literally building this up. Now, anytime they predict something at the World Economic Forum, brothers and sisters, it comes true every time. The whole COVID thing, they did all these tests and modules and simulations. They did simulations about COVID, and everything they did, it happened. I mean, everything. Just 1 year prior to C-19 hitting, it's like everything they said, they did it. Everything. Verbatim. So now, I'm seeing a lot of different evidence pointing to some type of cyber attack going on, something where the grid gets shut down, maybe temporarily, whatever. I'm seeing a lot of evidence pointing to something like that taking place in the near future, right? Let's go.
Let me just take you back to 2020 or 2021, I think it was, when we had the chip shortage. And all of a sudden, the automobiles that rely on these chips, they could not roll the cars down the assembly line.
So when you see on Leave the World Behind, all those cars just stuck on the road, all those smart cars not moving, that's what he's talking about right now. Because guess what? There's going to be a chip shortage. And while they're spending $500 billion on AI, so you can have a smart car, that's a way to shut you down when it's time. Telling y'all, man. That's a way of controlling you further. That's a way of making sure that when it's time to escape, you're not able to escape, because guess what? There's a chip shortage. Now your iPhone ain't working, your computers ain't working, and your cars in homes ain't working. So this is real. And I'm going to show you how real it is. I will go to this source because it's going to get crazy, man. And this all ties together. So, but let's go.
So there was a shortage of new cars, and therefore the price of used cars went up, and that led to inflation in that particular year. But chips are used, Austin, in just about every product that we handle. Definitely the smartphones, smartwatches, the TVs, but also our refrigerator, our dishwasher, our automobiles, right? They have chips in them. So any electronic gadget that we touch, that we use, they have these chips in them. And so when the price of chips goes up, obviously the price of the products are going to go up as well.
One more thing before we go here. Is there an argument?
Man, we end up spending $10,000 for a damn Android, bro. $10,000 for a damn iPhone. I hope y'all already got y'all's iPhones and y'all's 2025 cell phones and all that. I hope y'all already got them, bro, because you get the rate we going in the next couple months, you're not finna be able to get one of those. That's why he put a halt on the technology. But guess what? When China say, well, we're not going to send you the damn chips, now what? We're not going to send you the chips. So what you trying to do now? Because we didn't stabilize our economy without America. We didn't need y'all. We didn't stabilize the economy. Now we're not finna help y'all do nothing. No, we're not sending nothing to America. Let them figure it out. You think the American people ready to figure this out? Hell no. We're gonna be back on them Boost Mobile flip phones. Hey, listen, if I was y'all, and I'm gonna do this myself, I'm finna invest in a Motorola chirp phone. That's right. I'm finna, because guess what? Everybody I'm networking with, we're gonna have that Motorola Boost, that chirp. Hey, bro, click, where you at, yo? Y'all good? That's what it's gonna come down to. Get you something that don't have them, the new age chips. For real. That chirp. Go right back to chirping, bro. I'm telling y'all, man, this is real talk. Yeah, go back to that BlackBerry jump.
Argument to be made that steep tariffs could benefit both the U.S. and China. Perhaps both countries want these industries to have a stronger domestic footprint. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I think both countries currently are.
Now, we got to talk about this chip real quick. I'm going to go back here. Y'all see me juggling, moving around, but I'm going to show you how crazy this is with these chips and how that's going to affect. It's going to really affect America in a very negative way. But let's go.
America's cyber vulnerability database might shut down. The U.S. government just cut funding to the CVE system, the thing that helps the world track cyber threats.
So they just cut all vulnerability programs. It says back cyber vulnerability program to lose funding Wednesday. Now, see, this is the way that they're going to introduce this what they're going to call a cyber pandemic. You take away the security, you stop backing funding. Look, we don't have the workers. We don't have the technology. We got a lack of supply. Now everybody is pretty much open for being hacked. Let's go.
If you've ever seen the codes like CVE 2024-001, that's part of a U.S.-run system that tracks every major cybersecurity flaw worldwide. The MITRE, the nonprofit that runs it, just said their funding expires on April 16th. That means no new vulnerability IDs, delayed patch coordination, total confusion for security teams and vendors. Even NIST says it's pulling back due to budget cuts. No CVEs equal more chaos, more delays, and slower defense against real-world cyber threats. Toolmakers, researchers, and government agencies depend on it to fight threats in real time. This isn't just a tech issue, it's national defense.
You want to hear the most scary, major breaking news we've had?
But you know, the news, nobody's talking about this. I haven't seen this much on the news, but this is a big deal. Matter of fact, I'm a double check real quick to see if they covered this on the news, because this is lose funding. Yep, 4 days ago there was some news on it, but it's just mostly creators covering it. I don't see any major news network talking about this, but there's a lot of creators who pay attention to what's going on in the world. They talking about it. One guy, he's talking about the urgent Apple update with the CVE funding update. And he's going into details like how a lot of information is going to get leaked for iPhone owners and things of that nature. So this stuff is real, man. Let's go.
CVEs will no longer exist today. That is the database for all security of every internet system we use, our banks, everything. Doge cut the funding. We will no longer have any security.
So Elon Musk stupid ass cut the funding, bro. There you have it. I mean, Elon Musk, the alien, he cut the funding. He said, no, we don't want no cybersecurity. Now forget all that. Somebody said, get a VPN. No, we're talking about something totally different. A VPN ain't going to be able to help what we're talking about. We're talking about major cybersecurity attacks can happen. We're talking about on a governmental stage. We're not talking about like your computer and you got a little, you know what I'm saying, a virus protection. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the whole government getting hacked. We're talking about people's jobs getting hacked. We're talking about the internet as a whole getting hacked. Right? That's what we're talking about, for the record. Yeah, let's go.
For our data, for our bank accounts, for our power grids, nothing.
Yes, we're talking about banks, power grids, all of that. The CVE, they pretty much went dark. And this was like 2 or 3 days ago. So something's going to happen out of that.
Folks, this is a fact. No one's talking about it. Not Aaron Parnes, not Midas Touch. This is the largest national security breach we've had in my lifetime, probably in anyone's lifetime as far as the internet goes. That is scary. All should be tried for treason.
We're screwed. We are screwed. So last night, a news article gets posted that Uncle Sam abruptly turns off the funding for the CVE program. And you might be asking yourself, like, oh, why does this matter? It matters a shit ton. And let me tell you why. If you haven't been following me, I'm Cyber Mama Llama. I'm a cybersecurity professional specializing in vulnerability management.
So she works in the field. And she understands what's going on. She's a specialist in the field. So these are not just random people that's just quote unquote trying to scare the people and fear monger. These are people who work in this corporation of cybersecurity. And a lot of them, they're talking on TikTok. It's going crazy on TikTok. I mean, but this is the real deal. Let's go.
And so therefore, I rely on the CVE program a ton. But so does like literally everybody else in cybersecurity. The CVE program is 25 years old. It essentially allows any bugs that are identified and therefore approved as a vulnerability have a common naming convention so that everyone knows what we're all talking about at the end of the day. God bless for our trusty friends CISA, because they came in at the 11th hour and extended the contract with MITRE, who is the organization that basically runs the CVE program, to make sure that there is no gap period on new vulnerabilities being submitted and identified and added to the database, so that every single scanner that utilizes this can inform the clients at the end of the day what vulnerabilities actually exist in their environment.
So let me break this down in layman's terms, right? Now, when it comes to in specific environments, right, where normally there would be an alert that goes off to those who are in charge of cybersecurity, they no longer are going to receive these alerts, and they're going to be unable to stop anyone from hacking the system. And this goes for banks. This goes for workplaces. This goes for, you know, major corporations, you name it. These people are the people who are supposed to do their jobs, you know, like protect your bank account information and, you know, fraud alert. You know, when you get fraud alert and all of this kind of stuff, they cut funding for this. They cut funding, which means it's going to be easier for hackers to hack in real time. Because guess what? The people who are supposed to do the work are unable to do it anymore. And I personally believe that Elon Musk did this. This is my thoughts. I believe Elon Musk did this because he wants to replace those people's jobs with artificial intelligence. I believe he's trying to use the AI to do cybersecurity, and they're trying to make the cuts to put that template in place. I don't believe that's going to work. I don't believe that's going to work at all. The AI may be proficient, but not at that. You know, the AI is not. No. I don't trust AI. I don't trust it to do that. I don't personally. My thoughts on it. Let's go.
Earlier today, Monday, April 15th, a letter sent from the MITRE organization to CVE board members was leaked to the public. This letter was sounding the alarm that the contract which funds MITRE to maintain the CVE and CWE services and databases is set to expire on April 16th. The funding for MITRE to maintain these services is actually provided by the U.S. government.
Somebody in the chat says the CVE program is not defunded. Yet it is defunded. It's not completely defunded, but they did defund it. There's less money going towards it. Everybody who works in, I mean, how are you watching this? And the people who work there, the specialists, how are you watching them tell you what's going on? And anyway, it is what it is. You believe what you want to believe. The facts are on the table. Let's go.
And they're both the Department of Homeland Security and CISA. Well, the funding for the CVE and CWE programs comes from the U.S. government. They are used around the world by cybersecurity teams and practitioners.
Now, are you hearing this? He's talking about the funding right now. Let's go.
On both the offensive and defensive side, and are a pillar of modern cybersecurity. If you're not familiar with CVE, it stands for Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures. This is a catalog and database of known vulnerabilities for software and hardware. When a vulnerability is made public, it's assigned a unique CVE number. In addition to this, it's also given details about the software or hardware that it is linked to and the version of this actual software. Or
there's going to be also people mimicking software and hardware a lot more. Like this, before we had the CVE in place, there was people who was mimicking actual software and hardware because there was nothing in place to protect it. Like people would make their own versions of YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And make it look real. Like it'll look just like YouTube, but it's not YouTube. Or they'll make a version of Google. You log in, you think you on Google, you on some weirdo who's trying to bring you to the dark web. You know what I'm saying? You clicked on something that looks like a Google link, but you click on it and now you done went down a rabbit hole somewhere. I'm telling you, bro. Or they didn't got your information and all of that. That was happening a lot in the early 2000s. You understand? In the early 2000s, that was really problematic. Anyway, let's go.
hardware that is impacted. Very importantly, it's also given a CVE score, which is a number from 0 to 10 based on the severity of this vulnerability. For example, a vulnerability that very easily allows something like remote code execution would be given a high score, like 9 or 10. The CVE catalog is critical to cybersecurity and IT teams for many reasons. One of the main ones being is that it serves as a central database where they can check versions of software they are using to see if there are known vulnerabilities.
See, they can check to make sure there's no vulnerabilities. But what happens when you defund them and cut, you cut jobs and you're no longer able to get those alerts? Let's go.
Whether or not they should patch them. The scoring system also allows them to prioritize which patches should be deployed first and allows them to fix the really critical issues that could lead to breaches. I recorded this video yesterday, however, the situation is very fluid. And now, as of Tuesday, April 16th, it's being reported that CISA has extended funding for the CVE program to continue, at least for now. It's not clear how long this funding will last for, and this isn't all good news because they still are cutting funding to MITRE and not renewing that original.
So understand that they've cut funding. They haven't completely defunded, but they cut funding to MITRE, which helps with specific duties and tasks with the program. Let's go.
Original contract. This means MITRE is going to have to downsize several hundred positions and cancel some of the services they provide.
That means that leaves a breach. That's a security breach.
If your organization somehow relies on the CVE database or CWE database, which honestly it probably does, it's a good time to consider alternatives and what would happen if there is a disruption to this service.
-001. That's part of a US-run system that.
Now let's go back to what's going on with these chip shortages and what's going on in America with these tariff wars. Let's go back to the specialists here. Let's go.
Trying to,
is to have a stronger domestic footprint. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I think both countries currently are trying to, bring down the tariffs on these chips and related products. So I think both of them are saying that if you put too many tariffs, then it's going to cost.
Yeah, somebody in the chat says Trump says groceries are way down, not where they live. Hey, y'all notice that it's like on certain news broadcasts, Trump will be like, eggs are way down, groceries are down. He be pointing up. He ain't never point. Groceries are down, eggs are way down. It's like, motherfucker, we got eyeballs. Like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like we see. Eggs are the lowest of the lowest they ever been. Like, man, we see. Gas has went completely down to the lowest it's been in 40 years. It's like, yo, do y'all not see what the groceries and gas cost? It's like, where? Somebody walk. When y'all, listen, all you Trumpsters out here, walk in the grocery store and show me where, because we might have to move there where you at. Show me where the groceries are down. Because it's like this ideological subversion, playing with the public, telling you one thing, as if we don't live in reality in the real world and can't see what the hell's really happening. It baffles me that people fall for like the television. We know the devil is the prince of the air because they're able to say something and it makes it your reality, even though our pockets be struggling. Our pockets be struggling, but they'll tell you that you're like, yeah, we're in the best era. It's like they brainwashing you. We are doing good. The economy is fine. It's like they putting y'all through the damn get out syndrome. Eggs are cheap. Gas is low. The economy is just fine. Everything will be okay. No need to prepare. We got you. The government has you. I mean, like I'm telling you, it reminds me of They Live. Like when you put the glasses on, you see what the program is. They try to keep you asleep. Yeah, he talking for the rich. He ain't talking for us. Everything will be fine. No need to leave the city. It's convenient here. Don't you want convenience? Eggs are not $29.99. KFC is real chicken. Don't listen to those people who talk about preparing. Prepare for what? Spend money, buy more, shop, 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 shop. It's like, you need to go to the store. You have everything you need. No, you don't. You don't have everything you need. You need to go shop some more. I mean, bro. And then when you hear the truth, and then when the truth seems to be out there, we ignore it. Like, people don't want to hear the truth. Yeah, consume, 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 and consume some more. Yes, they live. A lot of hidden messages, man.
Not just the US consumers or Chinese consumers, but the world semiconductor market itself. You know, when you look at a product and the different components that it has, things like design.
But then, and you know what the crazy part is? They be telling you the truth, but it's like it's too late for people because they've been brainwashed. I don't even like that term, brainwashed, because if you wash your brain, it should be renewing. A brainwash should actually be something good. But anyway, man, these people, they be rocking people to sleep, man. They be rocking them to sleep. It's like a white noise. It's like white noise. It's like they'll show you it's mind control. And that's what Trump is specialized in. Trump be up there like, everything is good. The economy's on the up and up. Everything is perfectly fine. They'll come to the table. We're outsourcing China. We're doing it. Man, no, you're not. No, you're not. We got eyeballs. We see what's going on. Anyway, let's go.
Sourcing, making, assembly. Design is the most expensive piece, and U.S. Companies are very good at that. And we do a great job. We innovate. We send it out for processing, and there's a huge profit to be made in the design piece. And that's, companies like Apple and Tesla and others. They thrive on this innovation. So I think, there is a case to be made for sure to bring back some of the semiconductor manufacturing into the US. I mean, that's what the Chips and Science Act tried to do. And I believe President Trump is also trying to do the same thing, bring back more chip manufacturing into the US.
So, Trump wants us to do Chinese jobs. Yo, who's seen that Dave Chappelle skit when, and this was during Trump's first administration, Dave Chappelle did a stand-up and he was like, yo, Trump is talking crazy. You want to go over there and bring Chinese jobs to America? He was like, I want to wear Jordans. I don't want to make them shits. That's what it is. I'm telling you. The American citizens not finna be doing that. They're not finna be doing that. They're not finna be making the Jordans. They're not finna be making these chips. I don't know how to put this, right? I know Trump, with this situation, he's trying to do something that, and I get it, because he's like, yo, he wants America to be great, right? Or whatever the hell that means. But that ain't happening, bro. Now, how do I put this? Americans, most Americans are, man, see, people gonna say I'm anti-America, but how do I word this? They're entitled. They're already entitled. You're not gonna just be able to break that spirit off of them. They used to just having things, not making them. Know what I'm saying? And I can say that for all Americans for the most part. It's just the truth. That's going to take a long time to restructure the minds of the American citizens to actually go out there and build the country up itself. Now, we'll see how that goes. I know his backup plan is the AI, or actually that might be his first plan. But yeah, somebody said lazy. The Americans are probably the laziest. I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to use that word. But let's go.
But do we want to be doing everything from design to chip making to assembly to logistics? Some companies are better at assembly than others. We are definitely much better than others in design, in innovation. But certainly bringing back some of the manufacture of the high-end chips, especially those that are used in AI applications or defense or advanced space types of applications into the US, I think would be a good step in the long run.
Yeah, in the long run, that could be beneficial.
Aragu is with the College of Engineering Architecture.
But guess what? In the short run, we already going through it as American citizens. In the short run, it's already getting real out here. Let's see. Hayoka Spirit says, just because something is good doesn't mean it is perfect. So you can see the good and bad in it. Yes, I agree with that. Let's see. Psalms 9:17. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forgot the Most High. And ladies and gentlemen, we are almost up at the 1,000 mark as far as viewership. If you could just do me a solid, brothers and sisters, and hit that like button. Hit that like button. And also, I got another source, I believe. Let me see if I got this up here, because this is what we must understand, about America and who originally owned America. You know what I'm saying? Let me see here. What happened? My live feed. Okay, there we go. More often than not, we discuss America. And lately, we've been talking about foundational Black Americans, people who were born here. I want to show you all, just for a brief moment, exactly how foundational we really are and why America's suffering the way they're suffering and why they're not going to get back up unless they do right by the foundational Black Americans, right? I want to inform you on something. Some of you all might not quite get this, so I'm gonna actually bring this up. People are wondering why I've been speaking about foundational Black Americans recently. People who were here. African Americans, so-called African Americans, are the original owners of America. Uh-oh. They said New Breed just dropped the bombshell here. Y'all ready for this one? By show of ones in the chat, y'all ready for this one? By show of ones in the chat, y'all ready for this truth right here, what I'm about to drop on y'all? Come on, y'all, get them ones up. Okay, I'm seeing them ones. I see a lot of ones. People wonder why New Breed has somewhat become a FBA Israelite hybrid. Well, it's because I'm not a nearsighted person. All right. Well, technically I am. That's why I wear glasses, but y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about seeing the future. And I understand that our people are tired of being stepping stools. We're tired of people exploiting our plight. And the truth of the matter is, historically, not only are we the foundational people here who went through captivity, we own America. We own it. Now, y'all ready for this? Let's go. Let's go. Let's bring some of the facts out.
Plague the whole place out and then take over their buildings. New York was already there for thousands.
Listen.
Into a country, plague the whole place out and then take over their buildings.
They came through here, plagued the whole place out, and took over the buildings.
New York was already there for thousands of years. San Francisco was there for thousands of years. Los Angeles was there for thousands of years. They were built by the indigenous people who were Black and Indians as well.
So for the record, the Native Americans are Black. The tribe of Gad, they're Black. Yes, they're Indians because we have different tribes. They're considered Indians because they're a different tribe. Tribe of Gad, tribe of Simeon. They were speaking ancient Phoenician Hebrew when Christopher Columbus rolled up on the shores. In Christopher Columbus' own memoirs, the native people were speaking Hebrew. We already owned America. America's ours. So since they stolen America from us and they refuse to help us, you took our land, you constantly are degrading us morally. You've put together an infrastructure that keeps us in poverty. Now, Most High is judging this place. The Most High is judging this place in anyone who is going against his people. Anybody who goes against the Most High's people, foundational Black Americans, the Israelites, they are going to have to be punished. Anybody who tries to go against our people, and guess what? That includes the whole entire system. That includes the whole establishment, the 5%. They all got to pay because they have waxed abundantly wealthy off of our work. And so now that we are gravitating towards our identity, and now that we are standing up for ourselves in a lot of situations, and we're not bowing to white supremacy, now the Most High is doing a new thing, right? Let's go. That's right.
By the indigenous people who were black and Indians as well. The black people, they are the original owners of America. Black people.
That's right. Black people are the original owners of America. That's right. That's right. My nigga Bree knew the time. And in case you got a problem with that word nigga, it's in the Bible. It just means black. It just means black, baby. That's all. My nigga Bree knew the time. Niger. Niger is the actual word. But the Southern twang and Southern dialect, they said it with an ER. And that's considered derogatory. We was Niger. Black. And we owned America. FBA. That's right. Not only are we the foundation, we own it. It's ours. They stole it from us. Let's go.
Wow. African Americans. They were already here and they plagued them out. And they stole the Smithsonian Institute, which is Jesuit controlled.
Yep, it's Jesuit controlled. The Jesuits rewrote history. They destroyed our artifacts. Various countries took our artifacts and they use them as some type of relics. They got the Black Madonna. They got all of our, they got all of our history. And then they whitewashed it. Let's go.
Stole their knowledge, stole their history, and now we're just left.
Yeah, we think that we all came from slavery. We think that we were all put on slave ships. Don't y'all know there's a reason why in high school, junior high school, all they showed you was slave movies for Black History Month? How many of y'all by show of ones experienced that? If you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They was at school showing you roots, as if that's where our history started. They were showing you us getting whipped over the back and all of us coming over here in ships. Yes, there were people that were brung from Africa that were our people as well, because we are across the four corners of the earth. But there were also people here already. Everybody didn't come from slave ships. Thank you for the scripture, Reggie. Ezekiel 16:33. They give gifts to all whores, but thou givest thy gift to all lovers and hirest them. And they may come unto thee on every side for thy whoredom. Right. And they were selling us for wine. They were selling us for oils and minerals. Those who came from various countries, we were sold for cheap. Those who caught up with those who went through the transatlantic. But there were also people here that owned America. That's right.
Wondering who we are, where we come from, where we're going. We don't know anything.
Since you
Let's go. And look,
boy, what's a
even our Gentile brothers and sisters, they're even telling the truth about what's going on in America. Now, what did the Bible say? The Bible says that even the Gentiles would say, surely our fathers have inherited lies. Surely our fathers have inherited lies. So even our Caucasian counterparts, our brothers and sisters that evolved from that came from Edom, even they are saying, look, we have inherited lies. Everything we were taught in history, it's not true. Let's go.
what a galaxy brain take. Stolen from who exactly?
Well, I'll tell you, since you asked. New York City was stolen from the Lenape people. Los Angeles was stolen from the Tongva people. Chicago was stolen from several different tribes, including the Potawatomi, Miami, and Fox people. Houston was stolen from the Aquakisa people. Phoenix, Arizona was stolen from the Pima people. Philadelphia was also stolen from the Lenape people.
And I noticed, look, they like to show the lighter skin, quote unquote, Indians. But let me explain something to you. Some of these people you seeing, there are people too. But there were tribes. Listen, first of all, let me just put this out here. The children of Israel come in all shades and colors. We come in listen, some people, that's why you got to judge people by their spirit. You can't be judging people off the flesh alone, because we come in all shades. Matter of fact, the Bible tells you the northern kingdoms were like a cake unturned. Yeah, you got some people who are just light skinned. I got a son. He's light skinned. You understand? But guess what? That's my son. He's a Judite. So the point I'm trying to prove here is that you cannot judge and go after frivolous genealogies based on how somebody looks. You can't do that. You know them by their spirit. You judge it inwardly. But I do notice with a lot of these videos, they show the more fair-skinned Indians, but there was some very, very dark-skinned Indians, darker than I am. Know what I'm saying? And I'm a dark-skinned brother. But I'm telling you, let's go.
San Antonio, Texas was stolen from the Coahuiltecan people. San Diego was stolen from the Kumeyaay people. Dallas was stolen from the Caddo people. And San Jose was stolen from the Ohlone people. And it's weird because a simple Google search will reveal that all of these tribes listed have been living in these places for thousands of years. And although there were occasional border skirmishes and struggles for resources, there was never wholesale slaughter or genocide like what we've seen from the American government.
Not your land, this land was stolen.
All right, I don't want to get hit copyright for her singing. We all get it. We don't need the theatrics. We all get it. This land was stolen. This land was stolen. And y'all wonder why America's going through what it's going through now, because you don't have a comprehensive plan for Black Americans. So God is going to judge this place. And these wicked heathens are going to be plagued. Their children are going to be plagued and cursed. That ain't me saying that. That's the Bible saying that. I don't have no hatred for nobody, but the Most High hates the fact, pardon me, The Most High hates the fact that you're not treating the children of the light right. Most High fed up with this place. He is fed up with these people who are not trying to do right by the children of the light. Telling you. Let me see. Iconic Horror says America, Central America, and South America have shared tribes. Yeah, that's true. Hold on one moment. Let me make myself larger on the screen here. That's it. Let's full screen it. Let's full screen it. Somebody shares numbers here. Hold on. Oh, my camera's crooked. There we go. That looks a little better. Numbers 35 and 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein. But by the blood of them they shed it. That shed it. Woe to a land that's built upon blood. The scriptures tell you that the destruction of the great whore is inevitable. And it's amazing to me that you got so-called believers who have diametrically opposing views to what should be obvious. That showed me they not believers. Because the Lord said, you will hear my voice. My sheep know my voice. Ain't no way you a believer in the Most High and you don't believe in his word. And just because it's people out there that feel some kind of way, does that make the word void? Does the word not come true because somebody feels salty about what's happening in the world? No. That don't change nothing. Just like brothers and sisters, you may have people in your life that are trying to sully and convolute the word of God to make you lose your faith. Like right now, everybody's celebrating Easter. How many of y'all don't celebrate Easter, but everybody wished you a happy Easter today? By show of ones. May not be that many of you because some of y'all celebrate pagan holidays. But the point I'm trying to make is people don't respect the truth. You could tell somebody, look, Easter's pagan. Rabbits don't push eggs out their ass. I'm not celebrating that. That's giving reverence to a pagan goddess by the name of Ishtar. That's the goddess of fertility. The heathens used to do sacrifices and rituals on that day. I don't celebrate that. It has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with the Bible. Now, that information I just gave you, that's public information. The heathens don't hide it. You can go on the History Channel and peep that out. But people rather be oblivious. How the hell is Friday Good Friday if he rose in 3 days? If he rose Sunday, that's not 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's 2 days. If he died Friday night, think about this. If Jesus died Friday night, which they have no proof that he died Friday night on that day. They have no proof of that. How the hell does he rise in 3 days if he rose, look, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's 2 days. All you got to do is look at a calendar. It's common sense. These people just make up stuff. That's why I tell you the heathens will attempt to change dates and times. We're supposed to be keeping Passover. When y'all see me cooking out, I was celebrating Passover. Let's see. Amos 5:21. I hate and despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. That's just the facts. The Most High don't even like the smell of the food. Y'all out here cooking ham hocks and pork chops, barbecue pulled pork. Most High, he don't even like the smell of your solemns, your assemblies. God don't care nothing about no damn Easter. What God are they serving? Respectfully. We got to do better. When you know better, you do better. Somebody said you should have drone me a plate, Bree. Stop being stingy. I ain't make no. Oh, you talking about with the you talking about with the cookout. Hey man, it's gonna come a time where drones really gonna be dropping food. Drones really gonna be dropping food. You don't gonna know who made it. You gonna order a pizza, it's gonna be a drone delivering that junk. Yeah, they was out here wilding on Easter. We don't deal with that pagan satanic stuff. Somebody said, bro, AI is gonna take over very soon. Absolutely. Somebody said, no lie, the food you was cooking was looking fire. Hey man, that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? And I gave y'all some hacks. I gave y'all some grilling hacks. Just because you cooking with a propane grill don't mean you don't have to get the real grill experience. All you got to do is put the grease pan underneath. People, I'm about to tell y'all, right? The grease pan that's underneath, what you do is you throw some of those wood chips in it. You throw those wood chips, you can get the hickory Jones. You can get whatever wood chips. You put that at the bottom, right? It's going to absorb a lot of the grease. And also, because of the grease and because of the heat, once you close it, that thing hit over 500, those chips are going to catch fire. And it's going to cook your meat. It's going to be, man, telling you, it's going to be on point. I had to throw y'all some grilling tips there in case you don't want to be using coal and on all of that. That's another way. Somebody said, yeah, we can't escape what's going on in America unless we stake claim to who we are. Because there's power in that. It's power in knowing who you are. We are the children of Israel. And, you know, I'm proud to be who I am. And the reason I'm proud to be who I am, because I know it's power that comes with that. I know that the world powers who control everything, all the banks and all that, they pretended to be us forever. They pretended to be us. So imagine if our people would start being themselves. If we start being ourselves, blessings come with that. We are the foundational people of this land. We are God's chosen people. We are the children of Israel, and we are supposed to declare his mighty words. And we're supposed to be a light unto the other nations. Hear, O Israel, the salt of the earth. We're supposed to be leading, because when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. When the righteous bear rule, the people rejoice. It's going to come a time you're going to see these dictators and these world leaders die off, and it's going to be people celebrating in the streets. That's what's going to happen. It's going to come a time where one of these politicians and stuff, they're going to die, and you're going to see people in the streets having parties. Because that little 5% that can all fit in one room, they got the whole earth, they got the whole world in calamity, because we don't know how to direct our energy and transmute it the right way. That's right, people. Y'all bringing them scriptures, man. We in here having class today on this so-called Easter Sunday, right? Deuteronomy 18:5. For the Lord thy God have chosen him out of all thy tribes to stand to minister in the name of the Lord, him and his sons alone, or him and his sons for. Most High has chosen us to lead. He's chose us to lead. Let me see. Somebody says, right. Knowing what I know now, along with keeping the laws, has made me the best me I can never be. I love hearing that. Let's see. Flona Jean says, I will dance, phone everyone for days. Talk. Ireland is hell. A long time our government has been the same for 35 years, man. This guy from Ireland, or Fiona, that's a sister. This sister from Ireland is fed up. She is fed up with Ireland. Job 9:24. The Lord is given into the hand. It says the earth, pardon me. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? The world been given into the hands of the wicked. He's covered the faces of the judges. They can't see. Your president can't see. It seems that they're in control. That Elon Musk can't see. The head of government efficiency. You know why? The Most High covereth the faces of the judges. They don't know. A lot of them are just being hacked. They don't even know a lot of the times the things they do ultimately is doing the bidding of the Father. Because the Most High say, I control the light and the dark. Y'all are just pawns in my game. That's what the Most High is saying. Y'all are pawns in my game. I'm playing chess with y'all. Y'all out here playing checkers. Everything you do is for the greater good of those who was chosen. Bring that scripture out where it says everything that happened in this world is for the greater good of those who are chosen. And the Bible also says the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. I don't be just saying we God's chosen people for no reason. I know what comes with it. It take a lot of work. It take a lot of long suffering. But it also come with great reward. Somebody said, hey, Bree, we need updates on that Carmelo case. That is coming. I'm glad y'all interested in what I got to say about that because, you know, I got to react to I haven't even reacted to the parents breaking their silence. I haven't reacted to a lot of things because I've been, you know, working on some other things. Romans 8:28. And we know that all things, I see my man King Connect got it. Romans 8:28. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love the Most High, to them who are the called according to his purpose. Let's read that again. All things work together for good of them that love God. All things. Some things or everything. Some things are all things. That means it ain't nothing that happened on this planet that is not to benefit his people at the end. That's why we don't have no fear. That's why we're not worried. We rejoice at the signs of the times, but we are watchmen. We are on our posts. We are edifying. We are moving accordingly. Because why? The scriptures say, man, them scriptures is cutting. The scripture says, when it comes to Satan and his devices, we are not ignorant. We're not ignorant to his devices. Look at this. Isaiah 55:8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. That's right. That's right. Let me see. Enduring in the South says, glory to Yah. I was just thinking about that scripture. Y'all be ready to leave out here. Y'all be ready to leave out of here with substance. Okay. He's saying y'all need to get ready because God's people are going to leave this captivity with great substance. That's what the scriptures say. The first shall be last and the last shall be first. How many people, look, y'all got to understand. We delivering the good news when we talking about world events. We delivering the good news. NY Rockstar, thank you for becoming a member. My brother. And ladies and gentlemen, consider becoming a member on the platform. Hit the join tab. There is a lot of exclusive members only material. So really consider joining. Yes, Sunday says, good afternoon, everyone enjoying this edifying teaching. Yeah, this is what Satan's afraid of. He's afraid of us coming together. That's why the Carmelo Anthony situation is so what would be the word? It's really alarming to our oppressors because like no time before, everybody's on code. They don't like it. They don't like that we're on code. This Carmelo Anthony situation has showed and revealed people for who they are. You got some people who have extreme hatred for foundational Black Americans, and that shows, you know. And what we got to keep in mind is that we're now in a time where we're saying that you're not just going to be able to bully us. You're not going to be able to just come and put your hands on us and take an authoritative position over our lives. When it comes to the Carmelo Anthony situation, we got to understand that these people are losing their minds because they feel like they're losing superiority. And they have a superiority complex. Some people wanted to know what I thought about Austin McCaff's father being put out of the press conference. Well, my question is, why was he there in the first place? It was a press conference for that family. You know, yes, it was bold that he showed up because, you know, you showed up with a bunch of, you know, melanated people who are trying to protect one of their own. That's just like me popping up in a damn Klan rally, you know. But the only difference is if I pop up in the Klan rally, they finna string me up by my neck. But they didn't do that to Austin McCaff's dad. They just simply put him out because he had no business being there. That can be intimidating. And also, he did it to warrant a response from the media and keep touting around the fact that he's a grieving father. You know, it just was unnecessary. So my thoughts on that, he should have never been there. That's why the police put him out. For what reason are you there? Unless it's to draw media attention. You sitting back there, you looking kind of shady, heads down, glasses on. You could listen. You lost your son's life. He could have crashed out. That's why the police removed him. He could have crashed out. He could have been there to just put hot ones in the family. He could have been there to get the place up. I mean, y'all got to think about this stuff. The police did their job. The police did their job. I mean, you got to use common sense in these situations. You know, I know there's people out there that like to get into your emotions with the situation. Shout out to King Connect. He just became a member. My brother. And I believe, let's see. We have another member. Oh, no, I don't know. Oh, okay. So NY Rock Los gifted 5 members. Yo, shout out to NY Los. They just gifted 5 members, y'all. That's what I'm talking about. NY Los looking out for y'all. The membership is not expensive, y'all. It's only a few bucks. Yeah, so, you know, he did, you know, he showed up to the rally. You know, he did it for the cameras, in my opinion, and he got put out. You know, it is what it is. Let me do this person a quick, solid favor for them. Let me get this person. There we go. There we go. Got me fucked up. Yeah, we don't put up with no disrespect or no shenanigans. Jay just became a new member. Shout out. Shout out to Jay. Yeah. From failure to fighter says it's $5 a month and it's worth it. Thank you, my brother. Yeah, they definitely want to divide and conquer. And I do see that, you know, there's some people out there that race bait. There's some people out there that do all these things. Listen, we could just go with logic and common sense. And, you know, and for the record, the person that's representing the family of Carmelo is not his lawyer. All right. He's just a public representative, because I know there's a lot of false narratives on social media. That's not his That's not his lawyer. He's a civil rights representative. In every situation like this, when you have a high profile case, you need a public representative. I don't know why they chose him. I don't know. You know, even a lot of brothers in truth, a lot of FBA brothers, they're questioning this guy. So, you know, we don't know this guy. We don't know who he is. But all we know is that Carmelo Anthony was a straight A student. He was the lead of his football and track team. We know that Carmelo had 2 jobs, straight A student, averaged a 4.0 grade average. He had no prior situations like this outside of maybe some things going on in the schools here and there, you know, because look, they're teenage boys. But he showed himself to be a respectable young man. And you got to question, why would people go out of their way to make this man appear like this young man appear like he's some type of thug? And the very same people won't address the fact that Ickner Phoenix just put hot ones in 8 students in FSU. You even have our own people who demonize. You have our own people who are demonizing Carmelo, doing everything in their power to make him look like an evil young man. But here you have the FSU student who just came to school and just decided that he was going to spray the joint up. And nobody's talking about that. So, I mean, you got to question people why they won't address those situations. But they're so eager to demonize a young man who is defending himself against 2 people that he should have never been approached by in the first place. Allegedly 2 people. And apparently and allegedly they laid hands on him. There's no proof that Carmelo even said, there's no actual proof that Carmelo even said, if you put your hands on me, see what I'm going to do. That's a lie. Show me proof that he said that. Because the only person we heard say that was the brother of Austin McCaff. We don't know if that's what was said. He could have just ran to his bag because he was getting attacked. Carmelo hit that situation was not premeditated because he didn't have a knife on his persons. He had it in his bag. He had to run to the bag to obtain a weapon to defend himself, allegedly. But the FSU student came through and just wet the school up, premeditated. He posted scriptures a day before he did it about dividing the nation. Just to show you that he crashed out just to cause more race wars and tension. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's so crazy. Somebody said, I truly believe as parents, we have to stop giving our children so much freedom. We see what they do to adults. We must protect our children more. Parents should have been there, or we have to be there. Yeah, I mean, I know some of us believe in sleeper cells, such as myself. It could have been a sleeper cell. I do not take away that narrative at all, because these events take place and we know that they're planned out to push some type of agenda. I'm telling you. Now, as far as Carmelo Anthony go, you know, we are hoping that the young brother is found innocent, and it is what it is. I mean, at the most, he shouldn't be charged with no capital M. That's for sure. You know, manslaughter, perhaps, if that, we don't even want that, but I'm just saying manslaughter is the lead, is at the most. And that's saying manslaughter and with time served, as well as, you know, first charge, all of that got to go into consideration. Let me tell you something. There's kids from other nations that have committed manslaughter and they didn't serve any jail time. They may have just done house arrest. This is a fact. There's people who have been guilty of vehicular homicide or manslaughter and have not spent one day in jail. I'm just saying, man. Somebody says the world is not going to end. A lot of let me do you a favor. El Papo. Let me do you a favor real quick. Let me just help you out with this one real quick. Let me got me fucked up. Peace unto you. I think you're on the wrong platform. I think you need to find a platform with somebody you can play with. See, that's what we do on this channel. We don't even play games. El Papo is gone. And you know what's so funny about it? We don't a lot of the times it's like my moderators are like snipers. They don't even say nothing. You just gone. It's like you acting up at the show and they just quietly slide you up out the room. We don't even read y'all's comments. Y'all notice when I block these people, I don't even read their comments because they're there for the attention. I give them their attention, but I don't read their comments. They just get sniped out. They just get plucked right on out. Yeah, somebody says L got popped out. Somebody said Carmelo Anthony defending his flesh and blood, self-defense all day. Stop playing with us. Yeah, like, look, the bottom line is keep your damn hands to yourself. That's the bottom line of the situation. You know, if Austin McCabe believed Carmelo was in the wrong place, he should have went and got somebody who has some authority to move. Like, you're a student just like he's a student. You're not superior to Carmelo. You can't go put your hands on him and remove him from that tent. And it's that superiority complex that got these people, you know, getting packed up. That's just all it boils down to. Keep your hands to yourself. Iconic Horror says, can it be a setup? I heard from reports that there were a training day for the mass pow-powing that very same day at that school. What? I don't know where you heard that. Is it a coincidence that out of nowhere we had another mass, you know what? I don't know where you heard that. You're gonna have to supply everybody with evidence of that. Like, I don't put that past the CIA. I don't put it past them. All I know is there is a reason why when Alex Jones started exposing Sandy Hook, he got hit with all them lawsuits. There's a reason. That's all I know. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I just don't believe everything I see personally, and I have a right to have my opinion on things, right? But that's real talk. Somebody said the news painted the picture as though Metcalf was doing the right thing. Yeah, because the news and they want to support the power, the power structure. It's about power. The news is like, look, there's no way that this young black boy took out one of ours and he got freed. No, it ain't no way. Now they attacking the judge. And it's crazy because they're kind of trying to call her a woke judge as some type of insult. You know, nothing wrong with being woke. Woke means conscious, but they've inverted it because that's what these demons do. Come to find out, she's a Republican. Come to find out, that woman is a conservative. All she's doing is abiding and upholding. All she's doing is abiding to her, her pledge to be a judge and do the right thing. So they're trying to find anything to nitpick. Oh, she's just a woke judge. Look, they're so afraid of losing white supremacy. They're so afraid of it. They hate us, bro. I'm telling you, they hate us. Brandy Hunter says adults should have stopped this before it even got started. Apparently, adults wasn't around. Adults wasn't around. And it's unfortunate. Like, listen, let me be very clear. I am not in no way, shape, or form celebrating the loss of life. And it is very unfortunate. And we wish it didn't come to this. It's a tragic situation when it comes to the Carmelo Anthony, Austin McCabe situation. But we want justice to be served. And we don't want an unfair treatment of one of our brothers. And at the end of the day, a $1 million bond was entirely too high for a young man who's an honor roll student who has no history of crime whatsoever. Yeah, they have weaponized the word woke. Yeah. Somebody said they need to control their kids first. Yeah, teach your kids to keep their hands to themselves. And you got a lot of people who, even with all the evidence presented, they refuse to repent and admit that they're wrong. I've seen some creators even go as far as to take artificial intelligence images of Carmelo Anthony from fake Instagram pages in order to demonize this young man's character. Now, like, what kind of spirit of hate? What kind of spirit of hate is on these people? And it'll be people who look like us doing it. And things like that is mind-boggling. Bigotry towards their own people. That's why everybody who look like us ain't us. There's a lot of bigots with among us. We call those the 2/3. The 2/3 of our people, man. That's a great amount. That's a big number of our people. Yep, that was a case of self-defense, plain and simple. I agree. Let me see. Somebody said Nancy Grace is racist, calling Carmelo Anthony a suspect. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, Nancy Grace been around for a while for a reason. Yeah, that's the spirit of Cain. You got people wanting to see this young man rot in jail. People who's supposed to be our people. Excuse me. They want to see him rot in jail. Well, how about wanting to see the young man get a second chance at life? Why is so negative? Why not want to see the young man prosper? He's already doing good. An unfortunate situation took place. Why not let's see healing for the family, the Metcalf family, as well as the Anthony family? Because guess what? They're going through it too. And also, come to find out that the media went as far as to lying about Carmelo Anthony and his family purchasing new homes and new cars. That can't come to find out that's a lie. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a lie. Shout out to Tariq Nasheed because he brought out a real powerful point when he said, man, look, you can't buy no home in 4 days. He didn't even have access to the funds, the GoFundMe funds. His family already had that house and car, man. Stop it. The media tried to lie. Like Tariq said, you can't even rent no damn house. You can't even rent no damn house in 4 days. Like, stop it. Like, if you just sit back and use common sense for a second and look at the lies that they're telling to defame this family. They went as far as to threatening the judge. The judge had to beef up security. The judge said that when Carmelo Anthony came in the courtroom, they had to have beefed up security because guess what? He been receiving death threats. Who you think he's getting these death threats by? The real thugs. These death threats are coming from the real thugs. The bigots. The far right. And I'm talking about they so far right, they ass is wrong. They so damn far right, they just wrong. These people ready to target courthouses. They ready to pull up at courthouses. That's why we got to protect this young man. And look, never before have you seen our people come together and actually fundraise to get one of our people out of trouble and come together like that. They never seen it. GoFundMe shut down. Do you know how many criminals from other nations have had funding? This is the first time in history this happened, and people mad about it. They're like, oh, hold up now. Them people coming together. They on code. They protecting their own. Yes, it's a new day and age in America. We're not allowing white supremacy to rule over us, and they upset about it. They sick. They disgusted. Even the Uncle Ruckus is out there. They pissed. They throwing tantrums. Y'all know the Uncle Ruckus is out there. They like lock that nigga up. He can read, write, do arithmetic, and stab. Guilty as charged. Lock that nigga up. He ain't nothing but a thug. Straight A's, I don't care. He's a thug. Now they showing their true colors. That's right. We're not going for it like that no more. And then these people hate to see us come together. They hate to see us stand in solidarity with anything. Carmelo Anthony, what kind of name is Carmelo? Must be a thug. Who he think he is? I ain't never seen him shoot no basketball. Carmelo Anthony. I ain't never seen him with no dribbles. The nigga should have ran. Run, nigga, run. That's what we dealing with right now. In our own community. And look, we glad that they showing themselves for who they are. We glad that they show how much hatred they really have for us. Because now we get to see who's who. In case something ever go down and there's a race war, you already know who's gonna be running the massa. You already them niggas got AR-15s, AK-47s. They got food over there. They got all these beautiful women over there. They securing their neighborhoods and communities. You already know who's gonna go snitch. And that's all hypothetical. I'm not trying to push no race war. We don't want that. No, nobody wants that. I'm just showing you who's who. In case it ever got there, it's hypothetic. If it ever got there, you get to see just who these bigots in our own nation is. They can't hide it no more. They can't hide their hatred for us no more. Yeah. And it's a lot of them. It's a whole list of them on social media that fit this category that I'm talking about. And they would do anything to align their pockets. And the whole idea is to get a demographic of people who follow them, who want to see the power structure stay the same. But unfortunately, it's going to change, and there ain't nothing they can do about it because the Most High's hand is on all of this. Yeah, they got food over there. They out there with gardens, greenhouses. When them niggas learn how to plant gardens, they out there having camping trips. Niggas don't camp. Man, I tell you, man, what a wonderful time to be alive. I know if the prophets were living right now, they would just be rejoicing. They would be rejoicing that we in this time where all this revelation is coming clear, where the wheat and the tare are being separated and everything is coming to fruition. The patriarchs would love it. They over there raising guard dogs. Them same guys, they online talking about McCaff had a promising future. Carmelo's a thug. All right. So you telling me that Carmelo didn't have a promising future? He was a 4.0 student. An athlete. Let me see. Somebody says, Cuban, the villain, says, so black people think it's okay to kill someone because they push you. Do me a favor and leave the rap music alone. Oh, that's interesting. First of all, let me make this very clear. We don't know what happened, but it seems that he was protecting himself. Secondly, y'all need to learn the difference between killing someone and murdering someone. Rap music pushes the ideology of murder. Killing someone is necessary if it means to defend yourself from critical bodily harm or even death. Killing someone, Moses killed someone because there was Egyptians that was attempting to kill Israelites. So Moses took a stone and he bashed their ass over the head and they died. That's killing someone. If somebody break in your home today or tomorrow and you put a hot one right in the middle of their forehead, red dot style, and they get packed up and hauled off in that damn ambulance in that body bag, you killed that person. And guess what? That was righteous because you got a family. You don't want your family to get harmed in any way, shape, or form. Hell, David killed Goliath. Like you, listen. You're here watching this for a reason. Learn. Look like we having some connectivity issues. Let's see. Let's just stop it for a second and bring it on bike. There we go. It happens sometimes. Sorry for the delay, but look, know the difference between killing someone. It took me off of full screen. Let me get that. Know the difference between kill and murder. Rap music is talking about murking people. Rap music is talking about popping mollies and pulling up on blocks. Carmelo Anthony didn't murder nobody. Yes, Diaz still says rap only pushes the idea of murder in regards to killing each other. You make a song about the real enemy and watch that disappear into the air. LOL. Hey, there's a lot of truth to that. And somebody says it depends on the temper of the person. Same people you can push and some people you can't push too far. How about keep your hands to yourself, no matter who you are. Teach your children not to put your hands on other people. Yeah, rap does teach a lot of self-destruction. Somebody said this is not a Rittenhouse or Rottenhouse case. Now that was murder. Exactly. That was murder. But nobody wants to, none of none of the tap dancers want to acknowledge none of that. And none of the white supremacists like Mark Dice want to acknowledge any of that. Mark Dice needs to be shut down for hate speech. I mean, Mark Dice has the most racist show on YouTube. The way he talks about black people and all the views that he gets as a middle-aged white man disrespecting black people, bro, the way he does it, I don't see how he has not been shut down from social media. Mark Dice is a putrid, wretched, disgusting racist, and he gets a lot of views, which shows me that racism is very prevalent here in America. Telling you that right now. I mean, the type of rhetoric and propaganda he puts out on our people, man. Somebody said, why was bro so scared he had to pull a knife, though? I mean, he's 5'9", 140 pounds. And allegedly, two guys who were 6'1", 190 plus pounds lay hands on him, allegedly. And he defended himself. I mean, stand your ground law states that you can defend yourself if it calls for if it's in response to harsh bodily harm. Would you rather he got his head kicked in? Would you rather he got mutilated and he got beat down till he was unrecognizable or nearly dead? You know what I'm saying? I mean, what do you recommend? Yeah, we're in 2025. It ain't no such thing as no fair fight. You run up on some people, even if it's just to smack them in the mouth, they're going to put you in a box. No such thing as no fair fight. You run up on somebody while they cutting their grass outside and you snatch them off their lawnmower, you know what I'm saying, and slap the taste out their mouth. They got all the right in the world to put you in a box. Because that's standing your ground. You know what I'm saying? That's standing your ground. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody says Mark Dice is a teeny hat, small hat, not a white supremacist. He's something. He's something that's deplorable in my opinion. Barbara Lindsay says, I don't care if you black or white. Right is right, wrong is wrong. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Don't matter who you are. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And this Carmelo Anthony situation is showing you just how much America is divided and just how much race plays a role in everything. Listen, Azariah, pardon me, Azariah Ari says, stand your ground has been used over and over in the most wicked ways against us. Now they're acting as if they've forgotten everything that happened in the past 5 years in the public's eyes. Exactly. What about Trayvon Martin? That was a stand your ground case. He won. Zimmerman won. Zimmerman raised money. Zimmerman won. And allegedly, Zimmerman was following Trayvon. Matter of fact, not even allegedly. He was following him. He was trying to police Trayvon. He wouldn't even stand down when law enforcement told him to stand down. And allegedly, he approached Trayvon, and Trayvon beat the ish out of him. And then he murked him. Then he murked him. And then he won. And to me, that's murder. Let me see. Let's get New Orleans. Let me do New Orleans a favor real quick. New Orleans, man. It was good knowing you. It was short-lived. Got me fucked up. Yeah, they say Trayvon had them hands. They said Trayvon gave Zimmerman a 10-piece and a biscuit. And Zimmerman couldn't handle it. He couldn't take the pressure. And he won. I'm telling you, man, we snipers with it. 1 minute you in my chat trolling, next minute you in the shadow realm. Next minute you banished to the tether realms. It's crazy. Yeah, they say, yeah, that's right. They say he laid the beating on Buddy. That's what they say. I don't know. I wasn't there, but I'm just saying, word on the streets is Trayvon laid the hands on Buddy and Buddy couldn't take the heat. Somebody said, I checked out Mark Dice. I'm absolutely appalled. Yeah, that man is sick. Y'all don't get this guy off the internet for hate speech? It's some people, bro. Look, it's some people we just can't have doing what they're doing. Let me see. Somebody says, when are Yah's people, all nations hate? We are Yah's people, all nations hate us. Right, except for the Gentiles that rock with us. And they are out there. Shout out to all my cool Gentiles who know that their fathers had taught them lies. Shout out to all my cool Gentiles who have grabbed the coattail of an Israelite and said to themselves, you know, I'm going to rock out with my people. I'm going to rock out with my conscious people. And you know what? Hey, if y'all need us for something, I got Gentiles hit me up like, bro, I see what you're doing online. If you need me for something, let me know. I'm going to help you out, whatever it is you need. I got a few Gentiles that I rock with like that. That's just what it is. I don't see a lot of times y'all be thinking things one way and it's not like that. Y'all be thinking, listen, I'm going to tell y'all like this right now. I am no way, shape or form associated with any hate groups, any pro-black extremists or any of that. I ain't involved with none of that. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I rock with some of my Gentiles who are helpful towards the mission. And I've dealt with a lot of them, met them in person, shook their hands. And they don't like what's going on. They don't like how our people are being treated. They don't like what's being done on the media. Yep. Somebody said they scared of us. The dry bones are rising. Somebody said, New Breed, do you got hands? Well, listen, I'll tell you like this. That has nothing to do with the topic. So what we're gonna do is we ain't gonna banish you. We're not gonna banish you. We're gonna time you out. That's all. I'm just gonna time you out. Stick to the subject. Stick to the subject. We don't do that. We don't filibuster over here. We don't throw digressions over here. We don't do that. Stay on code. 1 Corinthians 12 and 13. Watch this. I like that. For by one Spirit we are all baptized into one body, whether we be Jews or Gentiles, whether we be free or bond, and have been all made to drink into the Spirit. That's right. We're not dealing with the extremist groups out here. We don't care. We judge you based on the content of your character. Yeah, that's right. Shout out to Martin Luther King. That's how we rocking out. We judging you by the content of your character. I'm telling you. And over this platform, man, we don't just talk about problems and issues. We talk about solutions, man. And in case you don't know that we do have a land initiative and we will be doing events and it's going to be popping off. It's definitely going to be popping off. Somebody said these trolls are like clockwork. Well, they make the show better because when trolls come in, y'all get to hear one of our favorite sound bites. Somebody said, yeah, they love pushing race wars, but it's spiritual war. We got brothers and sisters in all skin tones. Say that. That's right. Tamika says, amen for solutions. That part. And as you can see, you know, this is what we on right now. Here we go. Unlimited Potential Farms, partnership with New Breed Global Truth as a land trustee. So this yurt y'all see right here, you know, I'm gonna have lifetime access to it. And that's what we want to offer to all of our guests who want to join the board. At least those who are invested in the land, meaning you're ready to put your hands to the plow, you're ready to work and help with the development. So just so it's all transparency, we got the paperwork. We're doing everything officially, man. There's no plan, you know. And this is how we're supposed to do business with each other to make sure that it all falls in line for the greater good, right?
And everybody is covered.
Absolutely.
Because we understand, even though we have hearts to help each other, you know, some people were a little leery about not having paperwork or whatever, but we will provide you with paperwork. You know what I mean? And as far as the do's and don'ts, it's just that we all want everybody to get along with each other. We don't want no drama. You know what I mean? Everybody want to respect each other's space and place, but it all belongs to all of us.
Absolutely. So here we go with no further ado. Oh, let me see what's there. So read them and weep. There's my signature there. And to the grantor. Look at that.
Right here.
Yep. So there you have it.
Yes, sir. My brother.
Yes, sir.
So y'all want to be a part of this? Make it happen. Captain.
Yes, sir. That's what's up. So, you know, we talk about what's going on in the world, but make no mistake about it, we're doing something. You know, we got contingency plans. You know, we're thinking about generational wealth. We're thinking about all of those things. Like, you want something you can pass down to your children's children. And I think 110 acres of land is, I mean, that is something great. That's monumental. And so, you know, these are the type of moves we're making. And only a select few will want to be involved with this. Not even want to be involved. A lot of people want to be involved, but only a select few can be involved with something like this because you have to be of like mind. And, you know, there's a lot of people who are ready, but there's a lot of people that we just can't open those doors for because you have to really prove that, you know, you are about unity and togetherness. That's why Mike was talking about, you know, we just want people who want to get along and work together and have a like mind. But when we do these events, I would definitely be keeping y'all posted in the near future. But I just thought I would share that with y'all because a lot of people, they talk about what's going on in the world, but they're not doing anything. And this is not the first thing that I've done. Like, I've been to Africa. I met with dignitaries. They gave us land. But, you know, we had to get something done here before we can do things outside of the country. You know, we had to prioritize this correctly. So, you know, that's the type of works that we do. It's not, you know, when I take cash apps and all that, this helps me with travel. This helps me to be able to stay afloat and do the things that I need to do. So if you brothers and sisters want to support me, my cash app is New Breed Global Truth 77. You know, it helps the ministry. It helps the work that's being done. You know, it helps with the development process. So, you know, feel free to actually support what I do, man, because I'm not just like all these other creators who want to do things for selfish gain. This is for the people. All right. So I want to thank y'all, man. We went strong for 3 complete hours. What a powerful broadcast, man. Y'all showed up, man. Y'all have showed up. Somebody say USA is our house. Oh, yeah, USA is our house, but it's got to go through a lot. It's got to go through a lot before things got to get considerably worse before they get better, man. and the Most High has to judge this place. So we got to have our plans and contingency plans. But look, one love to y'all. Y'all be blessed out here. With that being said, shalom and peace.